Okay. All right. We'll wait 30 seconds or so to get everyone going here. Pull up the outline for today's call. Already 76 people here in the chat. What is going on? We've already got 29 comments. Let's go. What an unbelievable day we're about to have here, guys. Not only is this kind of monumental with what we've just released, we also have a really value-packed, fun call. We're going to be talking about many things beyond LandInsights. So if you're a land investor, you're going to want to stick around. And of course, we're giving away free land. Before we get started, put it in the chat. Where are you guys tuning in from? I see Aaron from St. Paul, Minnesota, Pete from San Jose, California. Let me know. We got Ben in Los Angeles. Let me see where everyone's at in the chat. Currently, Rylan and I are both in Canggu in Bali, Indonesia. Rylan, how you doing, man?
All right, I've been sick the whole time I've been here. So that's the one downside nobody really talks about is you get sick basically every day. But after a couple of weeks, you start to feel a little better.
Yeah, so Rylan's been here for probably 3 weeks or so, and we had a big group of like 20 people come out to Bali, and literally every single person got sick, Bali belly or sinus infections or stomach bugs. So coming from the West, like, I don't know if it's our immune systems or our gut or whatever it might be, not very strong. Like people from the West tend to get smoked when they come here to Bali. But it's still worth it at the end of the day. Let's take a look at the chat. Coach says, let's go. We got, someone says, yo, Rylan, big fan.
Oh, yeah.
There you go. Lizette's in Austin, Texas. We got Atlanta, Georgia. We got Cairo, Egypt. Zach Colburn is on the call. Yes,
What's up, Zach?
Zach got a terrible case of Bali belly. A 35 or 40-hour flight back home with Bali belly. It was pretty rough. We got Greenville, South Carolina, Colorado, Dallas. It's pretty lit in here, man. It's pretty lit. All right, let me walk you guys through what we're going to be going over today. I'm going to give you guys the talking points, just kind of the high-level breakdown. Now, I need to make it very clear. We are going to be doing the land raffle towards the end of this call. We've got 3 hours budgeted for today. We're going to try to make that full 3 hours value packed. If you win the raffle and you're not on this call, we're going to have to give it to someone else. So being in attendance is part of the prerequisites. What do we have to do? First, if you guys haven't made your LandInsights Lite account or any LandInsights account, you've got to go to that link down there, okay? app.landinsights.co/create-account. I'll put that in the chat for everyone. It's kind of it's a long one. You've got to go make your account there. Then you've got to go and export the golden parcel to get your golden ticket. Now, I'll give you guys some easy hints. It's in Kershaw County. It's north of Antioch. It's 11.99 acres, and it's glistening and glowing with golden pixie dust on it. You really can't miss it. You've got to export that one property. Just draw a polygon around it and export that. And then you have to be in attendance on this call. Sound good?
Yep.
Cool. All right. So we're going to go through a bit of an origin story, if you will, and share some background for myself, some things that maybe I've never talked about in my land investing career, some things for Rylan as well. So we're going to talk about early struggles in lands, what we went through in the beginning, what the market looks like today, why I actually think today is probably the best time to ever be a land investor ever in the history of ever. Despite what anyone will tell you, the business is much easier today than it was when I started in 2019. When did you start?
2020, and then like
2020.
legit in 2021.
So we're going to touch on that. We're going to go through just a little bit of context, a little bit of background on LandInsights Lite. Yeah, I think it's important to kind of know the why behind why we built this. One of my favorite parts of today's call, Rylan and myself are going to go through and show you guys our favorite export filters inside of LandInsights. So kind of some of the hidden Easter egg stuff that we're using in our exports. And when I'm exporting data, I'm thinking about two things. How do I find sellers that are more likely to sell? And then how do I target the right property? So we want to balance both. You can think about one as like a motivation filter. There's some cool filters we use in LandInsights. And then the second being like property scrubbing or things along those lines to remove properties that you don't want to buy. And I'm going to venture to guess that Rylan and I have a slightly different way of exporting data. So if you guys are new to the platform, I think it'll be really helpful just to see us pull records and see how we use it. Right after that, we're going to be going through our September KPIs. I'm going to reveal my numbers. Rylan will talk about his numbers. We'll talk about the struggles, the ups and downs, what's working for us right now, what's not working for us right now. That's going to be a really cool section. And a lot of what is working for us right now all kind of ties back to LandInsights. It's a very important part. We're going to talk about some wins. We're going to talk about some wins outside of Rylan and I. We're going to talk about wins for some of our LandInsights users, just so you guys can get some context of what people are able to do with this platform, right? I always say, like, once we master the skill of land investing, which does take some time, like, you know how to underwrite deals, you know how to talk to sellers, etc. The next step from there is, okay, how do we build leverage around that skill and go from kind of like a hobbyist or a side hustler to having a real business? And a lot of that just comes down to, how do we create leverage? And back in the day, we always created leverage through delegation. But with LandInsights nowadays, we're able to create leverage through code. And that's kind of a new dawn. That's a whole new day that we haven't experienced. And we see users that are doing, $500,000 or more a year, and it's them, a VA, and LandInsights. So we'll talk about some of that stuff, maybe get you a little hyped up. We're going to do the free land raffle. As a reminder, we're giving away land in New Mexico. We're giving away land in Colorado. We're giving land away in Arkansas. I almost forgot the state name. I'm not going to, don't hold me accountable to the dollar value of each one of these properties. I would say these are probably worth about $4,000 a piece. So about $12,000 of free land that we're giving away here. Currently, we have 111 attendees. That's some magical, weird good luck to see 111. And it's been holding steady, which is fascinating. We're going to go through a Q&A section. So we're going to open the floor to any questions you guys have. So as we're going through this, as questions pop up, throw them in the chat. Ron and I are going to go through and answer all those questions. And we're going to talk about an exclusive launch bonus. And I'll just touch on that briefly. So obviously we've made LandInsights Lite free. We've got LandInsights Starter. That's $47 a month. That's kind of the in-between plan. And of course, we still have the beast of all beasts, LandInsights Pro. And for anyone that upgrades in the next 24 hours to LandInsights Pro, we're going to be giving you 50,000 credits for free added to your account. You can use those credits for skip tracing, data exports, you name it. And for anyone that comes in, there's no special link, okay? If you just sign up in the next 24 hours, you upgrade within the platform, 50,000 credits will be added to your account. Sound good?
Yes, sir.
Anything to add?
No, nothing to add.
All right, guys. I hope you're juiced. If you guys could do me one big solid, it literally would mean the world. Out of the 106 people that are watching this, I have a feeling my mom might be watching this. In her honor, can you guys give this video a thumbs up? It would really mean a lot and make my mom proud. So I appreciate it.
I've got a question in the comments. Are you giving the lead or the title away? The title. The title is to all three of those properties. So we're giving you the physical property, not just the lead.
Yeah, that would be a little bit lame if we just gave you the lead. And these are deals from my business. I acquired these a few years ago. We've got probably like 75 or 100 of these small dollar properties still in inventory that we sell every so often on owner financing. And that's really what these are best used for. But my goal with these is, can I get this to ideally someone that's brand new that can go and make some money? They can sell them. They can make a couple $1,000. And in the process, they can go full cycle on a deal and learn what it feels like to sell a deal. I think that's a really cool thing to have happen as a beginner. You've got money to parlay into your business, and you've got some reps under your belt. One thing that's important, guys, we had over 500 people RSVP. And I think there's been some issues with the emails that have been going out for folks to make their account. So if you are one of those people on the RSVP list and you have not made your LandInsights Lite account, I would just put it in the chat. You have to make it to be into the raffle. So don't be one of those people where we get to the end of this call and just because you RSVP'd, you think you're in the land raffle. You've got to go through that link, set up your account. It takes 30 seconds. It's free. Export that golden parcel and then hang out on this call. I don't want to call you just to find out that you never actually made your account. That would be a real bummer. All right, let's rock and roll, guys. Let's jump into it. We're going to talk about some origin story stuff. Rylan, why don't let's kind of flip the script here. Why don't you start a bit with your origin story? And I think the way that I want to think about this is, when you first got started, what tools were you using? Just to give some context, lay of the land. Talk about your first maybe big breakthrough deal. and maybe some of like the pain that you went through with, I don't know, messy tools or weird setups or bad processes. And then we can kind of tie that into what we're seeing today and the compare and contrast the difference.
Yeah. So Sumner has a much different origin story than me, that's for sure. Our backgrounds are completely different in terms of like technical or knowledge background. Sumner's been kind of just a serial entrepreneur trying to make it over time, didn't complete college. I, on the other hand, went to an engineering school. I went to a school called Cal Poly San Luis Obispo on the central coast of California.
Just a quick note. Ironically, Rylan and I grew up together, but we didn't know each other, which is funny. Same hometown. Also, ironically, my dad was Rylan's mountain bike coach, which is interesting. And when I did go to college for that year and a half, I was also in San Luis Obispo, but we didn't know each other. He wasn't down there yet. So kind of like our paths have always been close, which is interesting, but keep on going.
Yeah. Sumner's what, 5 years older than me? So that's kind of at that point where we don't really know each other that well. And because of that, I call him Uncle Sum every once in a while. But yeah, we've had a lot of mutual friends, and that's actually how I got into it. Was Sumner was a fitness coach back when I was in high school, and he DM'd me trying to sell me a fitness plan, and then I just followed him from Instagram from that point.
That's so funny.
Circle back like 5 years later, I was at Cal Poly. We still didn't really know each other that well. Maybe we met a couple times in person at the gym. And yeah, I was in school. I had an internship at a company called Raytheon. We were building missiles for the defense industry. And I didn't really end up liking that career path. I didn't want to work in a factory my whole life. And at that point, I realized I needed to figure something out. So I was like flipping surfboards on the side off of Facebook Marketplace, saving up for money. And for some reason, in the back of my head, I knew something would come through that I would figure out to start my own business. I feel like if I kept doing the surfboard flipping, I probably would have made like 6 figures a year pretty easily. So that was always like something to go back on. I didn't really feel like that was the greatest use of my capabilities. I felt like I could do something better. And I was just always thinking to myself, what kind of asset is something somebody owns, but they don't really care about? There's cars. Cars are cool. You can get a little more for it, but the dealerships kind of take over that market. You got to compete with dealerships. And if you do more than 5 car flips per year, you have to register as a dealer. And the profit margins aren't good. The taxes aren't good. You got to have somewhere to keep all of the cars. You're stuck to one place. I was like, there's got to be something better than that. I looked into real estate, wholesaling real estate. I looked into just buying rentals. It seemed too complex and like too much work for me. And then long and behold, Sumner started posting on Instagram back when, I think this was, 2020. And he started posting these flips he was doing with these desert squares out in northern Arizona. Buy for 5, sell for 12,000. Buy for $2,000, sell it on seller finance for 10% down, $100 a month, something like that. And that was the old business model of land investing. That's something we don't do anymore, but it was intriguing to me. So I reached out to him, and yeah, I actually ended up cold calling for him because I didn't have enough money saved up yet to do a mailer. Didn't get a deal doing cold calling. And then later on in 2021, I ended up paying Sumner to teach me how to run the land business, and ended up doing my first deal out in northern Arizona.
How long did that take to get your first deal?
That took about 2 weeks after my first mailer.
Okay.
Yeah. I remember I was at an airport. I don't remember where I was going, but I was at an airport, and a lot of people get this for some reason. A lot of people get their first deal at the airport. I've talked to a lot of people about
That's
this.
funny.
But I remember seeing that. Like, I still didn't believe in the business yet. I saw that purchase agreement come through. I hadn't talked to this guy yet. I sent him a mailer. It was a 40-acre in northern Arizona, and I thought it was worth $30,000. I sent him an offer for $13,500 or something like that. And I just get an email with it signed and a PDF file of the signature, and I was freaking out. And still, I didn't know if I really believed in the business yet. Like, a lot of people talk on the internet. You have a lot of gurus explaining different businesses like house wholesaling. You have people talking about day trading, trying to sell all these courses, and it's hard to believe all that fluff. So a lot of you guys, especially like the starters in this business, you're still not believing in the system. And the best way to prove it is just do it yourself.
Yep.
So that came through. Did the due diligence, talked to a couple people in the area, talked to Sumner about the deal. Thought it was worth 30 grand, probably not worth that anymore because that was 2021 and it's a terrible market.
Yavapai County, right?
Yeah, Yavapai County. You guys can look it up in LandInsights. Yavapai County, Arizona. The APN is 301-17010D. So I memorized the parcel number because I was so engaged in it. I put my life savings into this deal. So that's how engaged I was.
Were you terrified to do that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember I told my mom, I was like, how do I send a wire transfer?
Yeah.
She's like, you're sending all your money. What are you doing? Like,
well, I think that's a good point. Just on a side note, dude, if you're young, like throw the Hail Mary, because whatever it was, 15 grand or 20. I mean, if you lost it, like you could always make it back when you're young. Don't put all your life savings when you're 60 years old. But I think that we've got a Leah member, we call him Grom. And he told me that before he joined Leah, the way he got the money to join Leah was his suicide investing strategy, where he put all of his money into one stock. And it's like either this works really well or it doesn't. It's pretty reckless, but I think there's something to that when you're young. So anyways, I digress.
He might come in later. I just sent him a text. He's in Bali. We've got
do a cameo.
Brian Miller,
Yep.
aka Woody.
Yep.
He's also out here. We're gonna try to get him in the studio in like an hour and a half.
Some OG Leah members, and they all live together in Arizona. And these kids are funny as heck, man. I mean, Woody's not a kid, but these guys are so funny. We'll get them in. We'll get them in.
Yeah. Anyways, bought this deal. Bought it cash. Closed through a title company. Got clean title. Bought it with title insurance. And if you know Yavapai County, you know this market's flooded with listings. If you list it on the MLS, nobody would see it. So I just went straight to Facebook. Nobody at the time was really doing MLS listings back in 2021. And we'll get to that in a second about the new strategy of land investing. But everyone was mostly selling on Facebook Marketplace or selling on land.com. So I just took it straight to Facebook and I hustled. I joined all the local groups, all the Northern Arizona groups, all the Phoenix groups, all the Tucson groups. And I got a lead who came from one of the Phoenix real estate groups. And this lady's like, I'm going to flip it. You've got to list it for 30. It's 40 acres. I don't think she knew anything about land. And she's like, I got cash. And I was like, I don't believe you. And anyway, she gets money from someone else. I don't know what private equity company she went through or what hard lender she went through to get this. But she ended up signing a purchase agreement to sell it with me like maybe a week and a half after I bought the piece of property. And I closed it like 3 weeks later through title. And we sold that for 30 grand. So I doubled my money in about a month.
So solid.
From
doubled your money. And then that was 2 weeks into whatever. You can't even really call it Leah back then. But I guess in some ways you were, I think technically the second in quotes Leah member. Well, what was funny then is it was just, there was no course. I just taught the course on a Zoom call. But it was 2 weeks in between. That's pretty fast, honestly. Is that about right?
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. It's lickety split. So 2 weeks to get your first contract. And then how long to sell that contract?
2 weeks to get my first contract. It was like a 3 week closing.
Okay.
And then I literally listed it. Like I listed it probably a week and a half before I closed it just to get moving on marketing. And we put it under contract like a week and a half after I bought it.
Solid.
So yeah, you're not going to see those numbers on Facebook Marketplace nowadays unless you get lucky.
Yeah.
I don't recommend it. And we'll talk about the new strategies nowadays. But yeah, a crazy time. And honestly, like I wouldn't have gotten into this business if I didn't know Sumner.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of fluff out there. And I was very skeptical. And Sumner can tell you how skeptical I was about the land market. But just because we had mutual friends, I trusted him.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it was so funny. Some of our, I mean, I think that generally a high level of skepticism as a life principle is usually not the greatest thing to operate from. I think when it comes to courses and coaching, you probably should be skeptical because there is a lot of BS out there. But ironically, some of our best Leah members were like the most skeptical. I'm like, there's no way these people are ever going to join or do anything here. They're just going to talk themselves off the ledge. And some of them end up going very, very far. Yeah, it was so interesting. Yeah, like your skepticism actually back then made me skeptical of myself. I was like, dude, am I even qualified to teach this? Like, I was probably I don't know, a year and a half in. I think I started mid 2019. So very funny. But to be, how old were you then? You were 21, 20?
I had just turned 21 when I
Okay.
got that deal.
Just turned 21, and then you get a wire for 30 grand like in a few weeks. Was that crazy to
I
you?
thought I was rich. I remember I was telling my friends they were drinking beers in the backyard as you do in college. And my buddy Johnny might be on this YouTube right now. He's like, dude, I would gamble all that money right now. I would go to Vegas right now. I was like, I'm gonna reinvest it.
Yeah. So you got 30 grand, you reinvested it. You've always been good at that. You've never been one to live, beyond your means. How much did you do your first calendar year?
First calendar year. Let's see. Probably just over like 120 grand in profit.
Solid.
First calendar year.
Solid.
You don't see that in startup businesses. Like that's unheard of most of the time. And honestly, like I'll say a lot of that success comes from acting quickly. I was skeptical, but I was willing to take risk and I was willing to just export the data and mail it.
Yeah.
Like I didn't want to think about it too long because the longer you think about it, it's always going to be in your head and you're going to be unsure and it's just going to take up that mental space.
Yeah.
If you don't trust it, go try it.
Yep.
Prove yourself wrong. If you don't like doing it or maybe it's not for you, then complete it and move on to the next thing. A lot of people are impressed by my ability to grow these businesses so quickly. And it's just from the fact of willing to put in the work and willing to take action early.
Mm-hmm.
Grom, same boat. He actually started his business in San Luis Obispo as well. And what's interesting about Grom is he was a big poker player in college. He would gamble a lot of his money. And I remember when he moved into the land house, he had all this cash. I was like, dude, where'd you get all that cash? He's like, this is my gambling money. Put that in the stock market. Put it in a savings account.
Yeah.
But it works out for him because he's willing to take the risk. He's willing to make actions. He may not be perfect at it. Nobody's perfect at anything in the beginning, but the ability to take risk and the ability to take action is what it like the best traits in business.
It's for those that don't know, Grom is Corbin Garcia. So if you're like, who the hell's Grom? He joined Leah a year and a half, 2 years ago, as he was 20 back then, right? He's 21 now. So like same age that Rylan got started in the business. And this business was so far from anything that I think he was familiar with. Like this was so outside of his lane, but he's just so consistent with just like ready, fire, aim. Like, okay, just go, do. We're transitioning over to smarter contact or testing smarter contact for our texting in our business. And, I've talked to him about it for the last week. He's already got an account. He's already implemented. Like there's just so much, just go, and then same thing with Brian Miller or Woody or really any of the successful Leah members that are here on this trip or just in general. They're just ruthless at executing and they do make a lot of mistakes, but I think that success is really just a game of iteration. So you got to take shots. You learn from the shots that you miss on, and then you just grow from there. It's pretty damn simple. I'd see the folks that don't get results is they just, paralysis analysis. They just sit on the sidelines or they overthink things so much they end up making it worse. Like you've ever done that with a mailer? Like you look at pricing for 4 days and you probably made it worse than what it was in your first pass on pricing,
Yeah, I'll bring up an example. So I didn't know what I was doing on my first mailer. Nobody knows what they're doing. You can do a lot of research, you can use a lot of tools, but you're still going to think you don't know what you're doing. And that first list I pulled, it was all Yavapai County. I think it was like 3,500 mailers, and it was in a terrible market. So I got that deal from that. And then I started learning more about markets, more about the business. And that second mailer took me like 3 times longer. because I got stuck in analysis paralysis. I wanted to get every property right. And that hurt me because my turnaround was slow.
Yeah.
It's like, don't spend too much time getting these things out, because in reality, like, it's just a numbers game.
Yep.
It's just a numbers game. And there's a lot of tools out there. Like LandInsights makes it really easy to get it out there with near perfectionism. But at that time, like it was much more difficult. But even then, like I just needed to get it out there. And I got stuck in that. And I've got more of an engineering brain than most people. And when you're better with numbers, or when you take all these courses, you have all this background in technical stuff, it tends to hurt you, and you have to kind of let go a little bit and turn it into more of a numbers game. That ultimately, like, it takes you back to that numbers standpoint, but it's a numbers standpoint in terms of taking risk. And a lot of people in a technical mindset, they don't like to take that risk if they don't know it's perfect.
Yeah. I don't know why it is, but you get so many engineers that join Leah, or maybe they just get into land in general. And that's always a big hurdle for them to get over. Like, not everything in this business is perfectly quantifiable. There's a lot of gray area. And I feel like the engineering brain hates that. It's like, it's black or it's white. But for whatever reason, we get a lot of engineers, and oftentimes they're very successful once they get past that hurdle. One of the questions in the chat was 120K gross profit or net for your first year before tax?
That was net profit. So all of the deals I did, that wasn't post taxes.
Okay.
We messed up my taxes pretty bad.
We had the worst CPA back in the day. I won't name names, but it's I didn't realize that Rylan was using the CPA until he told me last week, and I was like, oh my God, the CPA was a mess. I know, I can't even get into it. This business, man, I think that one of the reasons I love teaching this business is because the risk of failure is actually very low. I know that sounds crazy, because I'm sure some of you guys in this chat are struggling, but like, there's a playbook that works. You model the playbook. You just keep on putting one foot in front of the other. You iterate, you learn, but you don't stop taking action. And success is virtually guaranteed. Like, what other business can a 21-year-old make 120K net their first year without really knowing anything about anything? Part-time in college. Like, show me another business. You know what I mean? I had a Leah member, I won't name names, but I had a Leah member that sent me an email about a year and a half in with $1 million liquid in their bank account. Person knew nothing about real estate, no experience in real estate, land. And it's like, dude, where else can that happen? You know, and I would venture to guess that now inside of Leah, we've probably are somewhere between, I don't know, 30 to 40, maybe 50, like true net worth millionaires. And Leah's only been around for, in its current iteration, 3 years. It's just, I don't know. Where else can that happen? I just think it's a beautiful thing. Let's talk about, what were you using back in the day for tools? What was the tool stack?
Yeah, so it was very limited. There wasn't a lot of guidance back in the day as to where to go. And the tools are definitely outdated. They were old wholesaling tools. So the data source I used was PropStream to get our data, which is like a house wholesaling software. Definitely not the best for land. The data was pretty outdated. I remember going through that data set, looking at the properties, putting those APNs in the county database, which is the most up-to-date database, because our data comes from the county, and a lot were outdated and sellers had changed. So when you're sending letters, like nowadays, you can, with postage gone up, letters are like 58, 59 cents if you buy in bulk in total. So if you've got bad data and it's outdated, you're sending mail 59 cents a piece to people who don't even own the land. Like, that sucks for sure. And at the time, our response rates with mail were definitely better. And so it didn't hurt too much. But nowadays, if you've got outdated data, it's going to hurt you. But I use PropStream. I just hit a standard vacant land filter. So I just put in my acreage range. I think it was like 5 to 80 acres in Yavapai County. And I clicked vacant land and I simply just exported. That's all I did. No, not really any market research. No not a whole lot of pricing, and I didn't remove any owners that were suspicious from the data set. There was probably some oil companies in there, probably some power companies that would never sell to you. I just exported it, I priced it, and I mailed it out. And nowadays nobody does that. But so I exported it from PropStream. I just figured out what a 5 acre was worth, what a 6 acre was worth, what a 10 acre, 40 acre, all that what it was worth. Just did an Excel drag, deduplicated mailing addresses, and I pumped it out. But yeah, there was a lot of back in the day. Like my biggest struggle was Excel. It was so annoying because if you don't even know Excel, like I had a lot of Excel experience. Even with my Excel experience at the time, it was still difficult. But if you didn't have Excel experience back in the day, you would be throwing money out the door because you didn't know how to deduplicate, or maybe you mixed up the columns and you accidentally put the wrong name to the wrong mailing address. You priced it incorrectly. Like there could have been so many things that went wrong back in the day. So anyways, I spent a lot of time on Excel organizing everything. And then I used a mailing company called Offers to Owners, which is pretty expensive relative to Rocket Print and Mail, which we all use nowadays. So that's the tools I use. And then market research. I remember Sumner telling me at the time, like he didn't really have any scientific method to choose markets. He's like, go on Redfin. Look at pockets. Look for areas that have a lot of yellow sold dots on the heat map, and look for stuff that's less red dots that are for sale. And then maybe just choose that area. I like Northern Arizona. I was like, okay, I'm just going to choose it. And I was like, hey, I have these markets picked out. I think they were like Costilla County, Alamosa County, Yavapai, Coconino, all of like the worst markets in the country, in my opinion. He's like, just choose Yavapai. I was like, okay. And it worked out for us at the time. There was a lot of demand for people to sell. People were hurting for cash, and there was a lot of stimulus checks going out.
Yeah.
It was the golden age of buying and selling desert squares.
Oh, so easy
in America. It was so easy. So no matter where you chose at that time, like you would still end up profitable. So yeah, those were the tools I was using at the time. Pretty scattered, a lot of different things you had to piece together, and that would take a lot of time and a lot of investment, a lot of mental power to get a mailer out.
Yeah. What did after PropStream you went to DataTree, I think, right? And then you went to obviously LandInsights. So at every step of that way, from PropStream to DataTree to LandInsights, what was like the impact, or kind of like what happened with those inflection points? Anything that you could know?
Yeah. So going back to when I started realize, like when I got in that analysis paralysis point in my land business, like I said, I didn't know what I was doing on my first mailer. On the second one, I started knowing what I was doing. And I remember this mailer, I still pulled this second one from PropStream. And at the time, we didn't have coordinates to these properties. So I'll show you how deep down the rabbit hole I went. We didn't have coordinates, but I wanted to see every property that I was mailing because I wanted to be efficient. I wanted to take this sniper approach to marketing, and nobody was doing it at the time, so I didn't have guidance. And I came up with a method. I would pull the property from PropStream. I would take the parcel number, and then I ran a robotic process automation, which is basically like a robot on your computer that would search the property in the county GIS. And then it would pull the coordinates and put it back in a spreadsheet. And then I took those coordinates and I put it on a Google map. I used Google My Maps at the time so that I could see the acreage I was pulling, the location of the property on the satellite image, not the parcel outlines, just the location. And what I did from that was I would remove stuff that looked landlocked. And this took forever. I would remove stuff that was landlocked, and then I would price it based on the location of it. Because in this market, prices were wildly all over the place. Like like the west side, the east side, the north side, the south side, they were all priced different. For example, like a 5 acre would be 10K an acre on this side, 20K, 2K, 1K. Like you had to price it differently. So that's how deep I went. And I would remove a lot of fluff out of that, but that took ages. That took probably 2 or 3 weeks to go through all that, which was a waste of time in my opinion. And I knew there would be a better process out there, but there wasn't at the time. That was the only way to do it. And then I discovered data tree had coordinates. That made my life a little easier. And I realized the data was higher quality. So I went through them, and at that point I started.
Let me just chime in real quick. People love numbers. Can we tie is there any some kind of metric we could tie to it? Like at every inflection from, okay, prop string, let's say you did 120. Roughly what'd you do when you got to data tree? Maybe that second year or whatever year that was.
Significantly more. The second year, multiple six figures.
Over 300?
Probably around like 350, 400.
350. Okay.
Yeah.
So can we chalk all that up to the tool? No, but dude, it does really matter. Like it's a huge impact. So 350 once you move to data tree. I digress. We'll touch on that too once you made the transition to LandInsights.
Say that again.
So I said, well, what I want to do is every junction, every tool inflection point, tie numbers to it. Right. Broad strokes.
Yeah.
Broad strokes.
Okay. So data tree was much more significant. Return on ad spend definitely went up.
Yep.
Because I was being more efficient. My data was cleaner.
And you were all mail back then?
All mail.
Okay.
Yeah. I did not transition to text until midway through 2023. Okay. So we're talking like we're at the point of end of 2021, 2020, like early 2022 was when I started using data tree. And data was cleaner. I liked that. I started scrubbing my data. So I started removing these horrible properties. And basically the only thing I could do at that time was remove landlocked. I couldn't remove slope properties. I couldn't remove wetlands at the time. We only had a flood zone layer in data tree. That's still the case. So I would pull up my flood zone overlay and I would like dabble through each one. And this took ages as well, going through each one and trying to remove these. And then later on, I started a team of virtual assistants in the Philippines that would click through each property and remove the landlocked ones. And that worked out well. We were removing probably like 35% of our data set from those landlocked properties. So ROAS increased. If you remove 35% of your data set, your ROAS is going to significantly improve. And what I mean by ROAS, if you don't know, return on ad spend. Yep. So your money in for marketing compared to your return on your profit.
And I'll just chime in too. Obviously I didn't invent the word ROAS. That's true in almost every other industry, especially direct response businesses like land. But I think inside of Leah, we kind of pioneered bringing that concept to the masses. And I really think it's the ultimate health metric for a business. I don't really care like even what your net profit is or gross profit or even your margins to some extent. Of course, margins matter. So maybe that one is equal to ROAS, maybe. But I think ROAS tells you how efficient your business is. And no matter what the industry is, if you can build a mechanism that allows you to put $1 in and get multiple dollars on the back end, then all you got to do is just cram as much money as you can get into that little mousetrap that you've built. And so if you guys aren't tracking ROAS in your business, you got to start, because it shows us the effectiveness of our data, effectiveness of our pricing, effectiveness of that marketing channel, effectiveness of our acquisition team, like all of it. It all matters, and it all shows in that ROAS number.
Yep. So anyways, scrubbing, that was kind of the next process. It was not any tool, so to speak. It was just a method, right? And around that time as well, I started focusing more on market research. Sumner and I were meeting like 1 to 2 times a week.
Yep.
This was kind of around the time Leah started up. And there was kind of like the OG squad. It was you, me, it was the Bull brothers, yep. Michael Bull, Chris Bull. We had no idea where Chris Bull was.
Yeah, where is Chris Bull? He's probably a billionaire by now, living in Santa Barbara or something. Yeah. I think he's doing well, but man, I haven't heard from that guy in a long time.
Yeah. So we were meeting, and I remember we kept talking about the state of the market, because there was a lot of skepticism about the real estate market in 2022.
Yep.
And we wanted to prepare for that. And I just felt like the land business was just way too perfect at the time, and there was going to be a correction. And those markets we were all working in, Costilla County, like Southwest Colorado, Northern Arizona, there's way too much land there, and nobody lives out there. It's like, why are we targeting these places? Why don't we just do land investments outside cities? Why don't we choose land that people would actually build investable homes, like something they would feel is a good investment, right? Not a little crack shack off a dirt road 10 miles from the freeway. So we started kind of hypothesizing how we would analyze a market. And that's when Sumner and I started analyzing data for counties. So we would choose like a couple states at a time. I think we kind of started at 2 states. And we figured out what metrics we wanted to track. We ultimately wanted to see supply and demand for our larger acreage pieces. We started transitioning more to larger acreage at the time. In the beginning, we were kind of doing like 5-acre lots in the middle of nowhere, maybe a 1 acre that's a little more expensive, worth 10 grand. But now we're like, let's go target $60,000 properties. Let's go target $100,000 properties. In order to get that much money, you need to work in a market where people have that money and where people feel like that's a good place to put their money. So we're like, okay, let's track demand and let's track values. So we put out a spreadsheet. We put all the counties we wanted to track in each state. It was basically just an Excel spreadsheet. And we put the filters that we wanted to look at. So our filters, and basically the tool we're gathering this data from was Redfin at the time. So we're like, okay, let's put in a filter land in Redfin, and then let's do 5 to 40 acres. That's what we were tracking in the beginning. So we put 5 to 40 acres, and then we put columns at the top: for sale count, under contract count, sold in the last 6 months, and sold in the last 1 year, so that we can track current demand for everything that was under contract. We could track 6 months, quantity of property sold in the last 6 months and 12 months. And then from that, we created sell-through rate. I don't know who came up with that. Was it you or me?
I don't know. I will say, I actually don't know, truly. Let the record state, though, credit where credit's due. It was Ryland that came to me that said we should build something here. So credit where credit's due. And then I had the bad idea of turning it into a newsletter. That was what LandInsights was going to be. The STR one, that's a contentious topic. I actually have no idea who brought that up, but it was Ryland that brought this to me. And then we started tracking it with VAs. And like, dude, if we wanted to do the entire US, how much do you think that would have cost us to track every month? Thousands.
It would have taken like thousands of man hours.
An insane amount of work. And I think too, just so you guys understand, if you weren't investing back then, dude, 2020 to 2022 was so weird in a good way. But there's like so much synthetic demand because you had, stimulus checks and all that jazz. People were working on side hustles. So I think that like a lot of people also made like side income because they had more time during COVID. So there's some more liquidity that way. And then you had all this fear, like people wanted to get out of cities. So all of a sudden Costilla or Apache County was like all of a sudden desirable because you had tech bros in Silicon Valley that are like, dude, I want this contingency plan, which is a piece of land. And so I think it was very wise of you to say, hey, I don't know if this is going to last forever. And I remember July of 2022, like the rug got pulled on demand. I think that's when interest rates went up. And it was like, whoa, this game has totally changed. And it's so funny how like fortuitous things are, because for whatever reason, our gears were already turning on LandInsights. And I think that we weathered that storm and then grew really all because of what we were doing on LandInsights, which is just like very fortuitous timing.
Yeah. And basically, like, we realized we couldn't hit all the markets we wanted to. We couldn't analyze the data in all the markets we wanted to. And from my standpoint, I was like, there's so much money to be made if we can find those pockets. Because we knew everyone at the time was kind of working in the same markets. people were not original, and I wanted to be original because I knew originality created a wide open market that nobody was hitting at the time, where I could transition my business from where everyone was working to places nobody was working, so that my return on ad spend went up. People saw my letter and maybe they had never seen one before. And that was my goal. So like it wasn't possible by manually putting all these spreadsheets together. So eventually I was like, dude, let's just figure out how to analyze this data for the whole country.
Yeah.
And that just started as basically a software platform. We built a data analysis, a big data file we put together that was programmed. And it showed us county analytics for every county in the US. And from there, the doors opened wide. Honestly, like my whole goal for the tool was to keep it to myself. And then we realized we had something here to provide to everybody. So at that point, that's kind of when my business really skyrocketed. And that's when people started questioning, like, dude, how are you doing so much better than everyone else? And I was like, oh, we built this tool to analyze data at a high scale. I'm working in markets you never heard of.
Yeah. Yeah. And so LandInsights, did that coincide with your first 7-figure year?
Yeah.
Proof is in the pudding. It's pretty crazy. It's pretty crazy. I mean, if you think about the backbone of what we do is, first it's data. Like we all use data. We live and die by data. But then the second thing is we're arbitraging information. So if you know something about a market that other people don't know, there's arbitrage there. And, our businesses both experience that. And I would say right now, what's funny is like, dude, the places that are hot right now are so different than what we were marketing to in 2023, even at least for me. Like, and it just shows that demand is like a snake slithering through the country. It's always moving. And so having real-time access to what's hot and what's not is so powerful. But I'm working in the weirdest places today, man. I find that like the B tier markets that maybe aren't the hottest on the STR, but they're pretty hot. But these random little honey holes are so good to us right now. And we literally talk to people that I'm pretty sure have never been marketed to, or that's at least how they act. And it's not like market selection will cure every problem in your business. But if you guys aren't diligent with this stuff right now, there's a huge opportunity cost. You're leaving a lot of money on the table by not spending time selecting great markets and avoiding the rest. And I always talk about inside of Leah, a tool like LandInsights, the benefit of it is not going and picking Spartansburg, South Carolina or whatever. Like everyone knows that's hot. The arbitrage is dwindled there because there's a lot of eyeballs on it. The goal is to pick non-obvious hot markets, places where you're like, dude, why are people buying land here? But the demand is crazy and no one's looking at it or thinking about it. So 120, call it 350 on Data Tree, and then 7 figures once LandInsights went out.
Yeah.
Boom. That's crazy, man. Anything else that you wanted to add to that? I think I can tie in some stories about where I started just to give people context. Anything you want to add to that?
No.
I think that was a really good breakdown. If you guys enjoyed that, give this video a thumbs up. We've got 130 people on here. I think we've got 60 or so likes on this video. Let's run it up. Let's get some more likes on here. Kay, thanks for the compliment. If you guys know me, I typically like to do it ghetto style, freaking webcam, and that's it. I may or may not be wearing a shirt, those kinds of videos. I actually just hired an in-person video team here in Bali. And so all the production for everything that we create is going up, or hopefully that's the goal. All right, let's talk about my origin story. I think a lot of you guys probably have heard pieces of this, so I don't want to just, dwell on things that everyone already knows. I think the thing that I want to just kind of share with you guys to give confirmation is that when I started in this business, I was about as ignorant as they come. And so if I can do it, I don't care where you're starting at, what your background is, what your age is, ethnicity, gender, whatever, like you can do it too. I knew nothing about real estate when I came into this business. And kind of like what we were talking about with Grom or Brian Miller, some of the guys that are out here in Bali with us right now, I just kept on putting one foot in front of the other, one foot in front of the other. And frankly, that's why I'm here today. But I knew nothing about real estate. So if you guys are coming in and you're ignorant about real estate, all good. You'll learn it. Just one foot in front of the other. Put it in the chat right now. How many of you guys are brand new to land? How many of you guys have never done a deal? Just so I can get some context of how how green this room is. I would love to know. Put it in the chat for me. So as some of you guys know, the way I got into this business was actually through door knocking for wholesale houses. So I was living in San Diego. Ironically, I had done an internship at Raytheon as well, which is very odd. Again, our paths were always meandering right next to each other. I was living right outside of Washington, D.C. for a year. I was living in Virginia. And I had an internship through a contractor that was contracted through Raytheon. So it's all kind of this crazy pecking order. And what I did is I helped recruit software engineers for the CIA. Hopefully I can say that. I don't think that's a big deal. Um, really weird job, right? And this is like my first real job at the time. And I was like, you know what? I think I need to grow up. I had all these little side businesses, but I had fits and starts of success, but I never had like breakout success. And at that time, I had just gotten into a relationship. I was 23. I was like, you know what? I might need to grow up and just get a job. And so I did that internship for a year. I hated it. And the whole entire time, I'm just listening to Bigger Pockets. I'm going on walks, listening to Bigger Pockets, listening to it in the car. And so I was just kind of getting all this real estate information seeping in my brain. And, I was learning about the BRRRR strategy and stuff like that. I didn't have any money, so that didn't really make sense. So wholesaling seemed like the thing to do. And so when I moved back to San Diego after a year in that internship, I started door knocking for houses. And it was a terrible experience. I literally didn't get one positive reply. I was door knocking, and then I would go and leave a little handwritten note at the doorstep, going after ugly houses, all the classic stuff. And yeah, it just didn't, like, nothing came from it. In fact, it was mostly negative. Either the door wouldn't open or the door would open and I would just get barked at. And so I'm like, God, there's got to be a better way. So I went back to Bigger Pockets. It's funny. I think so many people have gotten into real estate because of Bigger Pockets. I do owe a lot to them. And they had an interview with what's the German guy in land?
Jack Bosch.
With Jack Bosch. They had an interview with Jack Bosch, and he was talking about land investing. And I was like, holy crap, this is interesting. And so after listening to that interview, I just went online and started looking for tax delinquent lists. And a lot of them were not readily available. Like I had to pay for them, or some of them were going to mail me a CD that I would put into my computer, like just super funky. But some of you guys might know Elko County, Nevada, that they had an easy CSV that I could download for free. And so I downloaded that CSV. I had my ex-girlfriend, but girlfriend at the time, handwrite a bunch of letters. We read about 50 letters, or wrote about 50 letters. What was funny is I told them on the letter that I was married. I don't know why. I thought that would add some layer of legitimacy, and sent those out. And I'll never forget it. I sent those out, I don't know the exact date, but right before Thanksgiving, a couple weeks before Thanksgiving. And I was driving up to Ventura, California to spend Thanksgiving with my mom. My mom's ex-husband at the time had a house up there. And so I was driving up there, and I was in my little Ford Fiesta ST. I loved that car. That was like a huge milestone. The fact that I bought a Ford Fiesta ST. I tuned it. It was stage 2 tune, had a cool exhaust, little pocket rocket. Loved that car. I still own that car, actually. It's sitting in Monterey. And I get a call from this guy, and he's not the owner. He's the son of the owner. His dad is older. And now I didn't send these with an offer. I literally just sent a letter. It's like, hey, I want to buy your land. Just my phone number. And so he's like, hey, my dad might be interested, but we want to hear what your offer is. I had no idea how to value this piece of land. Like when I tell you guys I was ignorant, I didn't know what a deed was. I didn't know what a purchase agreement was. I didn't know how to underwrite land. And so I just made up an offer on the spot, on the call, something that felt very cheap to me. And it's a couple $100 per acre. It's a little 5-acre in Elko County, Nevada. And he said, I'll think about it. I'll get back with my dad and we'll call you after Thanksgiving. Calls me after Thanksgiving. He says, no, the price doesn't make sense. I think, I cannot remember for the life of me. I don't want to give you guys wrong numbers. I think they wanted like 500 or $1,000 an acre. I don't know, something like that. Might have been a deal, probably wasn't a deal. And I ended up not moving forward with it. I was too scared. Again, probably for the best that I didn't buy it. I had no idea what it was worth. And I'm like, this is interesting though. The fact that someone even called me and entertained a conversation versus the response I was getting from houses, I was like, dude, there might be something here. And I started scouring online. I went to YouTube and I found Land Academy on YouTube. And when I say I watched every one of their YouTube videos, I'm not exaggerating. I think they had like over 1,000 YouTube videos at that time. I just started chewing through a couple of those every single day. Any moment that I had, I would listen to those. And that was like my new bigger pockets. And I was working a sales job at that time. I put it in my headphones of the sales job. And when I was driving, when I was leaving work, on walks, like anytime I could get, I was listening to Land Academy. And they kept on talking about data tree. And what was the other tool?
PropStream.
No, not PropStream. IDI Core? No, not IDI Core. What was the other tool? Someone acquired them. We were talking about that recently.
Batch leads?
No, not batch leads. It was the competitor to Data Tree back then. It was like terrible UI, high quality data. So you told me that you met the person that helped acquire them. Anyone know what I'm talking about? I don't know. I can't remember. Maybe Rylan can remember. But it was between those two tools. And I would watch videos on them. And the other one, the one I can't remember, had the craziest looking UI. I was like, I cannot figure out how to use this. So I went to Data Tree. I called up my, actually, the funny, I got the same account rep even till today. What's his name? You talked to him too.
Yeah. Good. No, it's not. Is it Carlos?
No, it's not Carlos. He always DMs me on Instagram. Nice guy, super nice guy. He's been with me since day one. I don't still have a Data Tree account if you're wondering, but I've been with him for a long time. Anyways, made a Data Tree account. I think it was $99 a month contract, and my per unit cost on data was something egregious. It was like 10 cents or 11 cents, something like that. Core Logic. Thank you, Pete. It was Core Logic. That was the tool I was weighing. I don't know if you guys ever use Core Logic, but the UI looks bananas. I was like so intimidated by it. Got a Data Tree account. And again, this is how ignorant my whole view of the land business was. I said, I got calls from Elko County, so I should probably work in Nevada. And I found the county that was right outside of Las Vegas. So I said, there's probably a lot of demand there. And I went to good old Nye County. Specifically, I went to Pahrump, if you guys know where Pahrump is, and sent about 1,100 mailers or so to Pahrump and got my first deal like 3 weeks later. It was a husband and wife that wanted to move to the Philippines, or taking a vacation or moving, one of the two. They lived in the Bay Area. There was no negotiation. My offer was something like $1,027.72 or something funny like that. And they pretty much just accepted it on the spot. And so they said, look, we don't really know how this transaction works. And I'm like, yeah, neither do I. But I try to play it cool. And this is before ChatGPT. You know, nowadays you could just ask ChatGPT, how do you draft a purchase agreement or whatever? And so I went and bought RE Tipster's purchase agreement template. Okay. So I bought his template. I think it was $100 or something like that. And I used that. I sent it to them. Funnily enough, I think no, I had bought in the purchase agreement prior to sending that mailer. Sorry, that was my first blind offer campaign. I bought Seth's template prior to the mailer. So they signed that purchase agreement on the 2-page letter. That's right. That was my first blind offer campaign. Zero idea how to price blind offers, because if you know Pahrump, I was going after like quarter acres, half acres, things like that. If you know Pahrump though, if the property has water rights, it's worth 20 grand. If it doesn't have water rights, it's worth 2 grand. I just blended all those together. I offered about $1,000 for everything in that size range. So they signed the purchase agreement. They sent it back to me. I have no idea how to take the next step with the deed. And so I called the county and I'm like, hey, can you guys help me draft up a deed? They're like, dummy, no, we're not going to help you draft up a deed. I was like, okay, well, I'll find a template online. I went and found a template online. I think I went to deeds.com, found a template online, but they had a very interesting recording process. You have to send in the recording fee. There's this like affidavit that you have to fill out that goes along with it. And so I got them to sign the deed with a notary, the owners, but I didn't know how to record the deed. And so I kept on calling the county recorder's office, and there was this lady there. I think her name's Dawn. Someone told me recently that they knew who I was talking about. I think her name's Dawn, which is crazy. Someone at an event. Yeah, someone's like, oh, you mean Dawn? I think that's her name. Hope I don't get her in trouble. Sweetest woman ever. And I literally owe my career to Dawn, because she said, you know what? I'll reach out to you after hours. And she showed me how to record the deed. Bless her heart. And bought that deal. 2 weeks later, I sold it on Facebook to a woman in Michigan, and she wanted to move out to the property. One of those classic situations, life had gotten crazy. She was, fleeing town. I don't know what kind of trouble she was in, but she was in a real hurry. PayPal'd me the money. I think it was like $2,500, bought it for about 1,000. And I was hooked, man. That was insane to me because I really just felt like all I did was shuffle some papers around and I made, whatever, $1,500 in profit. I could not believe it. And I don't know, there's certain like inflection points in life, I feel like when you find an opportunity that works, something that you're well suited for, you enjoy it, and it's an opportunity that you feel like you can make money on. Like when you get that moment in life, and you probably don't get that many of them, you gotta go fucking hard. Hopefully I can cuss on this. And I went psycho. I went literally psycho with a capital P, burned the boats. I said, this is who I'm gonna become. Like this, I'm the land guy now. And I went all in. I did a little over 60 deals my first year. Made a little less than Ryland did. I think I did 100K, 100K in gross. And then my net was, I don't know, 75, 70% margin, something like that. And yeah, man, never looked back. But I find it so funny that I knew nothing. And so it's like if you're coming into this business and you're ignorant, that's okay. If you don't have a leg up because you don't have real estate background or sales background or data background, you will figure it out. You'll absolutely figure it out. And I look back to where I look from where I am today, looking back to then, and I'm like, wow, I can't believe I even helped teach people about land because just 6 years ago, I was the last person that could tell you anything about land. I was so ignorant to this business. And I think it's just a good reminder that, um, yeah, man, I think that land is oddly egalitarian, like the land business. Like it doesn't really matter what your background is. You can start and be crappy, just keep on going and magic will happen. And so my started in 2019, 2020, 2021, 2022 was my first seven-figure year. Now, I had a lot of owner finance deals, so it wasn't like seven figures liquid or net to me. And then LandInsights, Leah launched in September of 2022. LandInsights launched 2023.
Yeah.
And our business has continued to grow. And what's interesting is that in 2023, we launched LandInsights. All of my time and attention back then was Leah LandInsights. That was my everything. And I remember last year in the middle of the year getting so fed up with hearing people talk about, oh, the land business is too hard now, da 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 da. And so I said, okay, guys, I was 5 years into that point. I'm gonna go all in and I'm gonna grow this thing. And I'm gonna show you, even 5 years in, even in this weird market environment, I'm gonna run it up. And our business has grown in a huge way just in the last year, 5 years in. And there's still so much opportunity there. There's still so much that I feel like I'm not good at, so many inefficiencies. And despite that, we're still growing. I just see so much opportunity on the board right now. I've never been more passionate about the land business than I am right now. Straight up. I mean that from the bottom of my heart. Remove the incentive to join Leah, remove LandInsights. I literally mean that I think the land business is in a golden age. Some of you guys have heard me talk about this, but there's been, for a lot of these marketing providers, there's been about a 40% drop in marketing volume. Dude, I don't get cold calls anymore. I get maybe one text every 2 months from someone that wants to buy my land. The number of letters I get has gone way down. The number of people joining Leah, the number of interest of people in the land business has gone down. I see more operators leaving. The board is being cleared out. And I'm just like, oh my God, there's so much meat on the bone right now. I really do believe that. Is the game different? Is it a little harder? For sure. But maybe we'll cover this here today. We'll talk about what we're doing to, despite being in a weird market environment, continue to grow. And I'm just freaking excited, man. I've never been more passionate about the land business than I am right now. I've been talking about this kind of 2.0 version of land investing because the model has changed. I'd be lying if I told you the model hasn't changed. The model has totally changed. And to coincide with this kind of things I've been talking about with 2.0 land investing over the last few months, we're rebuilding Leah. We're building out Leah 2.0 to coincide with land investing 2.0 because I am aware that some of the models in Leah have not caught up to where the business is at today. And so this fall, all the way until the beginning of next year, I'm going to be in this studio rebuilding Leah. We're rebuilding both, obviously, the course, but also the mechanism that we fulfill our members. We're moving Leah to more than likely a 6-month program to really accelerate people to six figures in 6 months. And that's the goal. And yeah, man, I've just never been more excited about the land business. So Anyways, a little bit of background to my story. Some of you guys have probably heard that all before. For you guys that haven't, maybe it was interesting. Where do we want to go from here, man? Do we want to?
Let's give away one piece.
You want to give away one piece?
Yeah. We'll do it at the hour.
At the hour. All right.
Yeah.
We're going to give away one piece of lands. Why don't you share your screen?
Okay.
I'm going to have Rylan share a screen here. Let's see. 1 second, guys. We're going to give away a piece of land, y'all. You know how we're going to do it, right? Let's get this little bin here. So
you gotta stir it up.
yeah. In here, guys, we have hundreds of numbers, okay?
1 to 300.
1 to 300. These were all handwritten by Rylan yesterday. A lot of work, okay? What we're going to do is we're going to have you guys put a number 1 through 300, okay? Somewhere between there. You get one submission. We're going to put that in the chat. You guys are going to put that in the chat, okay? We're going to select one number out of here, and whoever's closest to that is going to win a piece of land. Now, to win that piece of land, you've had to already make your LandInsights Lite account. You've had to select the golden parcel. Okay, you've had to export the golden parcel, and you obviously have to be in live attendance here, which you couldn't not be here if you're submitting a number, obviously.
If you submit 2 numbers,
you're out.
You're DQ'd.
You're done.
Yeah.
One number.
One number.
No jokes.
And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna do a cutoff point.
Yeah.
Before we draw, so we're gonna comment cutoff.
Yep.
So anyone after that cutoff point, you're not entered. So put in your number now, 1 to 300.
Okay. I'm gonna share why don't you share your screen to show them the property that we're gonna be giving away. I'm gonna add you to the stage. Let's see. Share screen. There you go.
Which parcel? Hold on, let me pull up one.
Sorry, guys. Give us 1 sec while we get this pulled up. We're going to show you guys a piece of land that we are giving away. Okay. You can just share your screen. That's fine.
Is that the Arkansas one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're going to start with giving away the Arkansas one. Click the Chrome tab right there. Okay. Click share. Boom. You guys can see Rylan's screen. Why don't you guys pan through the photos and just show them? Giving away this little lovely lot in Arkansas. Let me take down the notepad so we can write this down. All right, guys, we're going to give you maybe another 30 seconds or so to get your number in, okay? Another 30 seconds.
Just sell it to that guy that lives across the street.
Yeah, that's easy money right there. All
Seller
right.
Finance, $50 a month for 10 years.
Free land giveaway. Okay. This is for the Arkansas property. We're just taking a note down so we can have all of this done. What we're going to do is if you win and we select your number, you're going to put your email address in the chat. The team from LandInsights is going to reach out to you. We're going to have you go through an intake form so we can get the right information to put you on the deed. We're going to draft up a new deed. We'll share that for you to review, to approve, make sure everything looks good. Then we'll record that deed and transfer it over to you. Obviously, you will be accountable for taxes. So just I'm not going to pay the taxes for you. So obviously, once you own it, it's yours. You got to pay taxes on it, all that jazz. Just as an FYI, if you have never owned a piece of land, there are taxes.
And also FYI, guys, there was criteria in order to enter. So you have to have your LandInsights Lite account or any LandInsights account.
Yep.
And you have to have found the golden ticket property. So if you've done that, then you're entered.
Yeah. So Tim, just to show you, Tim, what we will verify here on this call that whoever we pick has made that LandInsights Lite account or on any account. You could be on Pro or Starter, doesn't matter, but you have a LandInsights account that's active and you have exported that golden parcel. So we use a platform called Mixpanel, and Mixpanel shows us who's exported that property and therefore obviously who holds an account. Okay. So Tim, the way we're going to be verifying is in Mixpanel. We can potentially even show that to you guys just to make sure that everyone knows it's on the up and up. No funny business here. All right, guys, should we pull the number?
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to
show them. So
I'm going to fluff these up, guys. Okay. Just so you guys can see, this is no funny business here. There's 300 numbers in here. Okay. You guys ready?
All right, I'm gonna click cut off.
All right, it's gonna be cutoff time. All right, it is cut off now. No more. All right, we'll do one more fluff just to be honest about it. We're gonna grab one number. Ding, ding, ding. The number is 42. I don't know if you can see that. The number is 42. Rylan, who's 42? Who's closest to 42? Andrew Reese, you're too late, brother. We already cut it off. 42, 42, 42.
See a 52.
Okay, 42.
23. 52 is closer. 23, 25.
52, 52.
52.
Or, sorry, this is 42. So far, 52 is the closest.
35.
Okay, so that's 7 away. So that's closer.
35, another 35. So there's two 35s.
Ooh. How do we want to do that? We need a little Rochambeau.
Whoever was first.
Ah, fair. All right, I think 35 is the winner. Let's see. So number is 42. We had 152, that's 10 away, and we had a 35. 42. We had a 35, that's 7 away.
37.
37 was called. Who had 37?
John Schmidt.
John Schmidt. Uh-oh. John's 5 away. John's 5 away. John, you might be the winner, my friend. Let's see. Let's not get too excited yet. Dun, dun, dun. 56. Bro, John is the winner. John, you just won yourself a beautiful piece of land in Arkansas. I can't remember the size of this property. I think it's a 1/4 acre. John is my hero. Can you, John?
Yeah, we need your email that you created your account with.
Yep, John Schmidt, put your email in here and we're going to verify that you've exported that property and that you hold an account. John Schmidt, also please share your email here that you're signed up with. John Schmidt was 5 away. He had 37 and we had 42 that we had pulled. Dun, 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 dun. Yes, John Schmidt, drop your email down below. Congratulations, brother. Thank you for being here on the live stream. Don't forget, guys, we've got 2 more properties to give away. You need to stick around for those 2 more properties. John Schmidt, please put your email in the chat. I'll be right back, Rylan.
John, put that email down in the chat so I can confirm you've followed the instructions. If you didn't, we're going to have to redraw. I am a representative for John Schmidt. He gave me his land. John, where are you at, brother? Oh, yeah, Rob says put a space in your email. I had the issue before. Yeah, mix it up a little bit. I'll just I'll go ahead and search by your name. It's fine. Let's see.
All good.
I have a feeling probably the comments don't let him put his email, so I'm just gonna search his name in the system.
John Schmidt, can you not put your email in the chat? I believe you can.
Put it, but it probably didn't go through.
Okay, John, please do this. Please send us an email. hello@landinsights.co. Please send us an email there. and show us the email that you made your account with. And we're going to go verify that obviously you hold the LandInsights account and that you've exported that golden parcel. So John, please send us an email as soon as possible. I want to make sure that we get you down and everything is good for your Arkansas property. All right, guys, while we wait, we just lost Rylan for a second. Why don't we do just a little brief Q&A before we jump back into our regular schedule of programming? DJ Destroy, John is live. John is on the call. The thing is, John, the StreamYard won't let him put his email in the chat. So John is live. Yeah, John, I put the email for you in the chat. It's hello@landinsights.co. I'll share it. Oh, dang it. I can't put it in the chat either. John, hello@landinsights.co. I'm sorry, guys. I did not anticipate that this would be an issue. I didn't know you couldn't put emails in the chat. So John, hello@landinsights.co. Aristotle says, yo, John, I'm a prince from Nigeria. I need your land. That's amazing. Ryan, why don't you answer a couple questions real quick in the chat?
Yeah. Yeah, guys, throw some questions in here.
What did you just get delivered, huh?
I just got us some coffees. Basically the Uber Eats of Indonesia is called Grab. It is insane how quick the turnaround is. I ordered this coffee like 10 minutes ago. It's here already. And it's ridiculously cheap.
3 cups going in.
Well, I got you one.
Oh, thank you, bro. What kind of questions we got in the chat, guys? Questions. What do we got in the chat? Sumner Healey is under the email.
David, so there's been one winner, not confirmed yet. Just put it out there.
So yeah, if there is any nefarious funny business, as in John doesn't have an account, hasn't exported the parcel, we will redo the raffle for the Arkansas property. So our team is going to verify in the background. And let me just get with the team just to make sure everyone is good. So his email is right there. You want to verify in Mixpanel? That's we're just going to verify real quick on the spot for John. That way we don't have to redo the raffle, guys. We're going to verify that John has exported the golden parcel. So bear with us while we wait. If you guys want to put some questions in the chat, let's talk land, y'all. Let's see. Bum, bum, bum. Bum, 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 bum. Are you going to have a mobile app for LandInsights? That's a great question. Yeah, it definitely is on the, I guess, broad to-do list. I think there are more important features that we are more excited to bring to you guys. Features around dispositions, features around AI pricing for mailers or offers. We're making some really big improvements to the market selection section side of LandInsights, adding filters that don't exist anywhere else. Stuff that's super, super powerful. You verify?
Yeah, John won.
John, you're the man. John Schmidt, we have verified in a Mixpanel. You exported the parcel and you do have a LandInsights account. So John, winner, winner, chicken dinner, my brother. You just got yourself a free piece of land. Wish you all the success in the world with that. And we're going to get back to our regular scheduled programming. But don't forget, we've got 2 more pieces of land to give away. So we will be getting back to the raffle here as we get further into the call. So let me just take a note, make sure that everyone knows. John Schmidt. Good man, John. Good man. All right. Chan says, when is the next meetup in the US with you, Sumner? So yeah, we've got 2 things on the potential agenda. We haven't released anything yet, but I'm thinking about doing another LEA big event in the summer. So I'll be back in America in June, I believe. So toying with the idea of doing a big event in June. Most likely it would be in Scottsdale. So we'd probably be doing it in Arizona. I'm also toying with the idea of doing a mastermind in Bali, 25, maybe 30 people, very high level, like very, very, very high level. you don't necessarily have to be a 7-figure land investor yet, but you do have to be doing consistent deals. I want to like get in a boardroom with people and just go freaking deep. I almost cursed. I don't know if I can cuss on here, but just go super, super, super deep. Trevor, kind of why Scottsdale? It's where Rylan lives. We got a lot of Leah members out there. Scottsdale's a cool place for events. It's nice. Yeah, it's a big airport. It's pretty easy to fly into. Most places have direct flights there. Price says, would you recommend someone new to land that may not have the resources for marketing or for Leah to wholesale land until you do, or find another way to earn the initial capital needed? Yeah, I'm not a fan of wholesaling land, to be honest. Look at if you can do it, then sure, but it's a crappy model. Wholesaling and assignments for land doesn't really play out like it would in houses. You end up having to work with new home builders, which in my experience, I've ran that model of people I don't like working with. For what most of what we do in land is B2C, business to consumer, and assignments don't make sense there. My recommendation would be double closes, novations if you have no money, or go hustle, right? Pick up the phone, call 100 people every single day, get a deal, bring a deal to someone like me or Rylan, another investor, and say, look, I brought you this deal. I want a slice of equity in it, and we'll fund it, dispo it, all that jazz. And so you can do that as well.
Yeah. Every once in a while we'll do a wholesale, but it's kind of by accident.
Yeah.
Or it just kind of comes to us. The title company, I'll give you an example. We do a lot of double closes. It's a strategy that's pretty good and more risk adverse nowadays. We'll do a double close and we'll market the property with our double close purchase agreement that allows us to market it before buying it. And sometimes the title company, they'll say, hey, it's just easier if you assign the purchase agreement to this person, and then we'll give you the difference.
Yeah.
But with other title companies, some like for you to close first. So in that case, you would buy the property, maybe you have cash out for a day or two, and then sell it. So you have your profit over the span of 1 or 2 days. So that's generally how it goes for us, but sometimes we'll like accidentally wholesale it. But I don't tend to actively market a wholesale by any means.
Yeah. There was a question in the chat about AI pricing. I just want to touch on that real quick. So guys, already inside of LandInsights, when you export your data, if you come all the way down, you can include our AI pricing in your data set. So you just toggle that and our AI pricing algorithm will show up in the CSV file and you can see what our AI price is. What I'm talking about is something way beyond this. It's our true AI pricing kind of offer engine that is very powerful and very customizable. So there's still some level of discretion where you can come in and shift things and adjust things. That's what I'm talking about. The AI pricing already exists. You can already include that in your data sets. You could build offers off of it if you wanted to, but what I'm talking about is something far beyond even that. And we've already built it out. It's just about finalizing it, finishing touches, and then shipping that to the masses. All right, guys, let me just take a quick check in the chat area. A lot of really good question. There's a lot of really good questions in here, guys. We will get back to these questions. I appreciate everyone sharing these. We will get back to these. There's some good stuff in here. I want to make sure that we get through kind of all of the topics that we outlined for today, because we got a lot of really good stuff to get through. Okay. I think just really briefly, I just want to give you guys like kind of open up the curtain and give you guys a little bit of context as to why we created LandInsights Lite and Starter, just really briefly. Okay. I think it's important to understand the why. Very quick, and then we'll move on to some fun stuff. The reason that we created LandInsights Lite and Starter is that most new investors that I'm seeing right now are getting pigeonholed into either crummy data platforms that aren't made for land investors, PropStream, things like that, or getting roped into really bad setups, long contracts, and certain tools where you're locked in, and just a crappy situation. Like we talk to people that want to join Leah, and they're roped into contracts or crappy tools or whatever. And so I was like, I would love just to create a free platform. Like you don't even have to think twice. There's no subscription. There's no contract for the new guy or gal in the business. Now, why does that benefit us? Well, in terms of LandInsights, like LandInsights Pro, there's only so much TAM, right? Total addressable market. There's only so many people that are good enough land investors to be on LandInsights Pro. That's just the honest truth. And so what we need to do is we need to build better land investors. And the best way to do that is to equip them with great tools out of the gate and allow them to grow with it. So you could think about LandInsights Lite. That's really built for people that have never done a deal. So like you're at zero. You go do a deal, maybe a couple deals, you graduate to LandInsights Starter, you get the MLS overlay, some access to the comping tool, different pricing on a la carte data and skip tracing and things like that. You start doing a couple deals a month, maybe 1 to 3 deals a month, then eventually you graduate to LandInsights Pro. That's the concept. So it's a win-win, right? Of course, there's an incentive for us to create amazing land investors that grow into LandInsights Pro. And then for newer folks, like I feel like I have a good pulse on the market because I mean, at this point, we've taken thousands and thousands of application calls for people wanting to join Leah. And I just see a lot of people getting started in the wrong direction. Either they're running the wrong playbook, which is like, again, they're trying to assign or wholesale land. That's kind of an issue. Or they're just roped into bad tools and they're just burning marketing data. And my hope is that with LandInsights Lite, we'll open up kind of our whole little, like I think about Leah and LandInsights as like a little, so it's its own little world, right? It's its own little community, and they do cross pollinate. There's a lot of carryover there. So my hope is that people go through LandInsights Lite. That's going to appeal to the masses, and then they join our Discord. They start talking to other land investors, and they get equipped with the right playbooks. Because I don't know where people are hearing about these things, but I'm seeing people that are like assigning $5,000 deals in random subdivisions in Florida or like just spinning their wheels in the wrong direction. So I hope that this kind of brings in a whole new world to the model that we run for land investing and then turns people into, eventually LandInsights Pro users. So it's truly a win-win. Aristotle says, really, LandInsights Pro saves 37 hours a week. I love the specificity. That's awesome, man. Aristotle, LandInsights is the best platform on the market. Appreciate that. All right, let's go through. I want to show you guys how we export data. I think it might be fun just to see the filters that we're using, how we export our data, because there is like LandInsights is a platform that has a lot of bells and whistles, and there's a skill to using it correctly. So just because you have the tool doesn't mean that all of a sudden you're going to be successful if you don't know how to leverage the tool and take advantage of it. So I want to show you guys how we use it. Do you want me to go first or do you want to go first?
You go first.
Okay. All right, I'm going to share my screen here and we're going to jump into we're going to jump into the platform. Can you go over and make sure that they can see it? Make sure everyone can see my screen. Yep. All right. Cool, guys. Looks like we are all good. So just to be very clear, just to be very clear with everyone, the market research platform is only available in LandInsights Pro. I just want to be clear about that, so there's no confusion. A lot of the power features like the comping tool, agent database, et cetera, those are for LandInsights Pro users. We're not giving away those in LandInsights Lite or things like that, because honestly, when we told our users that we were building LandInsights Lite, most of them were pissed because they're like, dude, I don't want more people taking advantage of the things that are working for us. So that's not going in LandInsights Lite. That's exclusively for LandInsights Pro. So obviously, like, this is where everything starts for us. I won't go through all of this, but I mean, like, the origination before I even pulled data is all starting here, just as an FYI. Let's go over to the data platform. What market should I use, Rylan? Anything coming to mind? Let's just search a county.
Let's choose Barnwell County, South Carolina.
What the heck? I've never even heard of Barnwell County. All right. So here we are in Barnwell County. You guys can see down here, we've got our data layers. These are all like the toggles that we can turn on. I'm going to turn off some of these. I don't need contour lines right now. We'll probably leave it like that. I'll turn off MLS. I'll leave MLS comps. Maybe you guys will like that. And let's just trim this down so there's less noise on there. So I'm looking at 5 to 20s on the MLS comps. I can go back 3 years. You can toggle, sold, pending, active, all comps, etc. There were some questions in the chat about the satellite maps. You guys, you go down to the map layer, and this is where you can toggle the maps, high res, NIAP, etc. I use different maps in different markets. For whatever reason, some counties do better with certain maps than others do. That's just the honest truth. I also tend to toggle between maps because these all come from different providers, and that means some of the satellite imagery is taken at different times of the year. So you might use the high res and then you use the NAIP, and you see that, the property looks different. One's more recent than the other. So it's important to have access to all of those. Okay, so let's come here. Let's just imagine I'm going to do a county-wide mailer, right? So let's say I'm going to target the 20s to 40s, okay? So countywide mailer just means, hey, let's say that this is a homogeneous county. I've figured out that the 20 to 40 acres have a pretty tight spread for the pricing band. And so I feel confident that I could come in and make an accurate offer for that acreage range. So it's one thing to pick a good market, but if you're going to create an offer, you need a way to break up that market into smaller parts so you can create accurate offers. I can't just price out an entire county typically. So inside of Leah, there's 4 strategies that we teach. The first thing that we look at is countywide acreage range. If you're in Oklahoma or some rural county that's very homogeneous, you can probably price it out with acreage bands, 5 to 10 acres, 10 to 20, et cetera. The second thing that we look at would be zip codes. So fracturing a market by zip codes. As you know, like zip codes, like there's a real like schematic to how they were designed, and they usually do coincide with property values, kind of.
Yeah, so I'm pretty experienced with the postal system. So the way zip codes were created, like the boundaries, the lines, everything, they were created to optimize the population so that we can get mail out to all of them, because we have our major post offices and they need to get mail out on time. So they take into account like topography, they take into account population.
Yeah.
So splitting that up works out pretty well because price kind of follows topography and price kind of follows population.
Yep.
So dense places of population, generally land's going to be about the same value there.
Yeah.
But there may be, if there's a less populated area to the west and there might be like a mountain in between both zip codes, the price is going to be different because of those features, population and topography.
Yeah. Yeah, no, 100%. So zip codes tend to work very well as a way to fracture markets for pricing. The next thing that you could look at would be subdivisions. So one of my favorite mailer types is going after subdivisions. As you guys know, we're still actively doing the 5K mailer challenge. We're just waiting on the mail to season before we make the next video. But in that $5,000 mailer challenge, every market I did was a subdivision. It's a very high ROAS kind of marketing playbook, if you will. One of the things I love about LandInsights is I can just click on the subdivision tab here, and it'll show me every subdivision in that market. So like, for example, when I used to use DataTree, I would have to know the subdivision name to search it. Here, you don't have to. We'll just show you the full list, and then you can select one if you want. And the fourth strategy is a polygon. So you guys can see this up here. You can just add a polygon. You can do a positive or a negative polygon, so inclusion or exclusion, which is pretty cool. Like Rylan said, what I've seen is that like price follows topography. Like it coincides pretty well. Zip codes usually follow that too, but not always. So if you were in, I always use San Diego County as an example, but San Diego County, you've got coastal land, so on the water. Then if you go a little bit east, you've got the cities, and the cities run north to south, but they're all kind of in line with each other. Then you've got east of that, kind of like suburbia. It's more kind of a little hilly, not mountainous, but a little hilly. Then if you go east of that, you've got a mountain range. Then if you go east of that, you've got the desert. So you could use polygons to splice all that up. Okay, I've got my waterfront properties, my desert properties, and price usually follows that pretty closely. So those are the 4 main market fracturing techniques that we use. In this case, we're just going to say that this is homogeneous enough, and we'll use the 20 to 40 acre. The way that I know a market's homogeneous is twofold, okay? In my market selection, in the market selection platform in LandInsights, I use the Gini index. So that ranks how homogeneous price is for whatever acreage range you're looking at. The lower the number, the more homogeneous price is. Typically anything under 30, I start to get interested, okay? The next thing that I look at is I take all of the sold data for any acreage range. Let's say it's 20 to 40 acres, okay? I look at the sold data in the last year. I get that from the MLS. You can export that in LandInsights in the comping tool, or you can go to Redfin, whatever. I export that, and then I remove the outlier comps. There's always going to be, like, MLS data is messy for land, so there's always going to be somehow houses slipped into the mix, or landlocked properties, or whatever. There's junk in there. And I remove all of the off-market sales. I'm only looking for things that truly sold on the market. So I remove those outliers. Now, once I do, I'm looking for no more than 100% delta from the lowest price to the highest price in the last year, post removal of outliers. If I'm under that 100% delta, I have a really good chance of creating an accurate offer. So what does that mean? Let's imagine it's 4,000 an acre is the lowest sale, 8,000 an acre would be the highest sale. It's 100% difference between those 2 points. Is there a little wiggle room? Yeah, if it's 110%, you're probably not going to die. All right. You will see that some of these can be redundant, some of these filters. So for example, if I wanted to remove stuff that had structures on it, I could come in here and do max improvement percent. I could put in 10%, right? Or maybe what I want to do is I would go down to structure and I could put in a maximum square footage. So I could say, hey, maximum square footage of 500, right? Or I could also go up to the AI scrub and I could do our vacant land only AI scrub. Now, what's cool about this is that this overrides the county assessor's data. Do county assessors make mistakes or do things
Yes.
not get permitted?
Yes.
For sure. All the time. All the time. The AI scrub doesn't lie. If the property has a barn on it, whether it's permitted or not, it's going to pull it and it'll remove those properties for you. So right now we're at 380 properties. If I turn off that scrub, let's see what it does. We go to 669, right? Now, maybe I want to leave that off and I do a max improvement percent of 10%. It actually doesn't move the needle. What if I do 500 square feet? What does that do? 664. So it doesn't move it much, right? So in that case, I'm going to use the vacant land AI scrub. More than likely, what that means is there's a lot of properties that aren't permitted, structures, improvements that aren't being registered at the county assessor's office because they haven't pulled permits on them. So we'll rock with the vacant land AI scrub. Okay. I don't typically mess with zoning type or land use. I don't know about you. I don't really care. It's not my thing.
No.
So now we get down to the AI scrubs. This is the fun stuff. Yeah. So we're going to use the vacant land only. So we're only going after vacant land. We've got our bad slope scrub. So with the bad slope scrub, this is pretty cool. You can use the simple just toggle, right? If I turn this off, I go from 380. Actually, there's not much slope out here. It's a pretty flat county. So you can use our automated AI scrub for slope. You don't have to think about it. You just toggle it. Or if you want to use the advanced AI slope scrub, you can come in and say, hey, 50% of the property has a slope over 20%, remove those. So you can do the advanced option or you can use the stupid simple option. Honestly, I use the stupid simple option in most cases.
Well, yeah, there was it was us two and Kyle all in a room together trying to figure out the most optimal percentage, and the optimal percentage is that toggle on and off. So we looked at properties all over the country and came up with that one. So we just go off of that because that's what we all agreed on.
Yeah.
If you want more slope properties, you can do that. But we figured this was the most optimal setup. So
yeah, we wanted to make it like we want LandInsights to be user friendly, beginner or not. Like I want it to always have the option to give me the stupid simple path. And so we weighed so many properties to come up with that kind of automated bad slope scrub. But if you want to get more advanced, you can use this down here. I think this becomes interesting to use this if you're going after a bunch of different sizes, right? So maybe you have slightly different parameters for 100 acre because maybe you're fine if 60% of it's sloped. And then a 1 acre, maybe it's like only 5% of it can be sloped. So you could use it depending off size if you want more customization. Next is an obvious one, remove landlocked properties. Obviously, you can remove HOA properties. That's obvious. You've got our max wetland coverage and flood zone coverage. Again, it depends on the size, right? If I've got a 100-acre property, maybe I'm willing to do 50%. If I've got a 1-acre property, maybe a little bit less. If we blend them together, typically 30% for flood and 30% for wetlands is pretty fair. That brings us down to 333 properties. This is not a very slopey market. And it's not a very wet market. So if you're in Wisconsin, you might see that putting this in chops 50% of your results in some markets. You've got one of my favorite scrubs down here. This is the road frontage scrub. This is the most savage scrub known to man, in my opinion. If you guys are doing any kind of value add, especially I think exemption-based subdivides, you want the stupid easy subdivides, the lowest hanging fruit, where all you got to do is get a survey and get it recorded. What you'd want to do is you'd want properties that have a minimum of certain road frontage, right? Now that minimum needs to be relative to the size. Let's imagine that you're working in some county in Texas. Let's say that they tell you, hey, if you're creating a 10-acre, the minimum road frontage for that 10-acre is whatever, 200 feet. So if I'm going after 5 acres, they need to, or I guess 5 acres doesn't work, but if they're going after 50 acres, I need at least 1,000 feet of road frontage for properties of that size to pull off a 5-lot split on it. So I love that. Even if you're not doing value add, though, this can be interesting if you want premium properties. road frontage it matters. And so properties with good road frontage are easier to sell. And as obviously, if you're going to go the value add route, it becomes a lot easier as well. All these AI scrubs, these are all free, and these are all included in any plan, light, starter, pro, doesn't matter. Okay, down here, we got some of our ownership filters. So I'm going to deduplicate the owners. That's an obvious one. I like to keep the larger parcel. You could keep the smaller one if you wanted to. There's no reason to be reaching out to the same person multiple times for different properties. That's just a giant waste. Now, down here, you've got your out of state, out of county, out of zip. You could kind of think about these as like motivation filters to some extent. I have a very contentious view, and that is out of state, out of county, out of zip doesn't really matter. If I was on a tiny marketing budget, yeah, for sure. Okay, use them. But dude, we still get baller deals from people that live, sometimes they neighbor the property or they live in the same zip code. Like that's very frequent for us. If I had no money, then sure, you could rock it. But I typically don't mess with these. Exclude corporate owners. I don't know what your view is here. I keep those in.
I keep them in and I just do keywords.
Yep. So we'll touch on that. But we do buy from corporate owners all the time, trusts, LLCs, things like that. So is there a little more motivation with single owners or people that are just, vested on titles or regular Joe Blow? Yeah, we do get more deals there. So maybe the return's a little higher. So if I was on a tiny budget, maybe I avoid those. It's your call. Here's probably my favorite filter. Only interfamily transfer. This is the most baller filter known to man. I love the interfamily transfer. Because we have such a niche parameters here, there's no one that falls into this category currently, but only interfamily transfer is amazing. It's just showing that the property is traded hands within a family. Typically in that situation, you're going to get an owner that has less of a connection to the property. They maybe inherited it or whatever. And I find that they are very motivated to sell often. And usually with an interfamily transfer, usually that's coinciding with a life event. Something has just happened in the family. That's why it's traded hands. And so I find that is one of the most motivated lists of people that you can find. I've never seen that in another tool. I don't know if you have. It's amazing. Now, I typically do two separate searches. So you've got your only interfamily transfer search. And with that one, I'm not going to put an ownership length on. And then I'll do an ownership length search. So I might have the same market and have two searches. Okay. With ownership length, after back testing the most of my deals over the years, I found that ownership length is the canary in the coal mine for motivation. Do I get deals from people that bought recently? Yes, but it's few and far between. And they're usually not our best deals. When I look at spread, what deals make us the most money, they've always owned for over 5 years. So you just put in 60 months there as a minimum. That's a powerhouse scrub, okay? And then if you wanted to, you could do an only interfamily transfer and cap it at 60 months or whatever. So those are like my two favorite motivation filters, big ones. And I can share one more that we can talk about from a motivation standpoint. Okay, the next one. So you've got your include, exclude keywords. I'm not going to do anything on the include keywords. Let's imagine that you wanted to create a list for corporate owners and you only wanted to go after trusts or something like that. You put that keyword in there. So you could certainly do it like that. The exclude keywords we do use. So if you're going to go after corporate owners, you're going to get a lot of owners in there that will never sell you the property. Like the utility companies, freaking Starbucks, Target, the city, the county, the state, the federal government. What else? Waste municipalities. Cemeteries. So how many keywords do you put in there?
We have hundreds.
So we will be adding this in for you guys to have an auto exclude keyword button. So we will be adding that in so you don't have to think about it. You literally just click exclude these keywords, boom, our template will populate for you. So I know that's a requested feature. I totally agree. And that will be added in here shortly. County assessor, I don't really mess with this, to be honest. You certainly can. I don't use much here. Sale info is interesting. I don't mess with this often either, but if I wanted to find people that have a low basis in a property, that's fascinating. Or if they used a certain instrument, like a deed type in the last sale, that's interesting as well. So there's some interesting stuff you can play around with here. But I typically don't use this in my filtering. But if you wanted to have people that owned it for 20 years and had a $10,000 basis in properties that are worth 50, again, our best deals they typically have owned for a while, and usually they're making money on the transaction. Not always, but it's a powerful motivations filter. So if you guys are on a small budget, I would recommend stacking these motivation filters to get really curated lists. Open liens, do you use that for anything? I don't.
No.
Yeah, I don't use open leads. You certainly can. If you want to do sub 2 or whatever, find people that have a mortgage with a certain interest rate or fill in the blank. You certainly can. Structure count. I do use this on occasion. I'll usually put like a max square footage. I'm not going to use it here because I'm using the AI scrub. Okay. You got skip tracing. Recently, we did have to temporarily remove our premium skip trace. It will be coming back to the platform. We are moving over to a new and better provider. So it's going to be a net positive for our users. Right now, we have the standard skip tracing at 2 cents per skip. We will be adding back the premium skip trace. We're looking to have that here in the next month or so for you guys. So we are working on that. In this premium skip trace, one of the powerful motivation filters that we had used is owner age. When I back tested my deals, what I found is people that are over the age of 50 make up most of our deals and most of the best deals. And that just kind of makes sense, right? For our texting, for our cold calling, we do just use the standard skip trace. I'm not a fan of texting multiple numbers or calling multiple numbers. I don't know if you have an opinion there. I just text one number, call one number.
We text 3.
You text 3, okay.
Yeah.
I just do one, and I find that if the person is the wrong person, they'll usually get us in touch with the right person. So I save some money there. I just use a 2 cent skip trace. That's so cheap. Dude, when I first started texting, I was paying like 8 cents a skip.
Yeah.
2 cents is so cheap. That's just bananas. We do not make money on these things. Like, these are really lost leaders for our users. You can export KML files. It's pretty advanced. We're using like Google My Maps and whatever. And then exclude AI parcel estimates. I'll keep that on. And then I go and export it. And what's really cool about the export is you guys can actually go through and look at these properties. So if you wanted to say, hey, wait, what's inside my list? We can literally go and look at these properties here, which I think is a really cool feature. So those are mainly the filters that I use. I don't know if you want to share your screen. If there's anything I missed.
I'll just go over my absolute essentials.
Okay.
So I don't think I've met anybody at a higher scale in terms of how many people I market to.
How many people do you market to every month? Broad strokes.
625,000 texts per month.
Wow.
So it's definitely not possible without LandInsights, and that was the goal. Is like I wanted to scale this as far as I could possibly scale it. I realized probably like we're marketing about over 30% of the entire U.S. on a recurring basis.
Wow.
The rest of those markets, they're just terrible. I would like to do 100%, but land's not valuable everywhere.
Yeah.
So that's kind of why we're at that 33 or like 34% mark of the entire US. So I'm going to go over the absolute essentials. And then I'll just go over like the slight filter changes I would do if I was at a lower scale so I could be slightly more efficient.
You want to share your screen?
Yeah.
Okay. Give us 1 sec. Rylan's going to share a screen, guys. Oops. There we go.
Okay. So I'm just going to go back to Barnwell. And what I'm going to do, let's say I'm going to do 5 to 200 acres. Okay. That's step 1. I'm not touching zip codes. I'll go over that in a second. All I'm doing is AI scrubbing. So keep the only vacant land AI. So that's my only vacant land filter I'm using, because in the past I've realized the county messes up like we talked about before. So I'd rather take the problem into LandInsights hands. And basically what this does is it looks at the houses on the satellite image and just removes the properties with houses on it. So use that one. Bad slope I have checked. Landlocked AI checked. HOA, I just keep it in there. Wetland coverage, I'll do 50%. And then flood zone, I'll do 50% as well. Road frontage, I don't do that. I only do that for subdivision campaigns. So my filters, the only adjustment really is road frontage. I'll do a larger road frontage so we get subdividable properties. We can do more creative offers on those, but I don't mix them together because I want to have a different strategy for our subdivisions. I don't touch this. We deduplicate owners, keep the larger parcel. So if a guy owns 2 pieces of land, we keep the larger parcel that have this criteria. So if this guy owns a property, 2 properties side by side, one touches the road and one doesn't, that one that doesn't touch the road, even if it's larger, gets removed because it's landlocked. So we keep the larger property that meets all the criteria here. So we keep the larger. I don't touch any of this, none of this. And the reason why I don't touch it is because I need a lot of data. So I just want to target all of the good pieces of land in the US that is valuable. It has road frontage. It's flat, doesn't have a crazy slope. There's no crazy wetlands or flood zones on it. So I don't really care about where the owner lives. Like Sumner said, we get deals all the time where maybe they live next door, and I'm okay with that. Your response rate may be better if they're out of state or out of county. But again, we're hurting for data because there's not like a significant amount of great counties in the US or great areas to target. And then we hit exclude keywords. So I have a saved filter. So if you build out a list of keywords you want excluded, like cemetery, you have gas, oil, Walmart. You can build out this entire list. Like our list comprises of like hundreds of keywords. You can save that so you don't have to do this every single time. So we usually open up a saved filter so that we have access to this. I don't touch any of this. None of that. None of that. And then for texting, I'll just hit standard skip trace. So we're doing standard skip tracing because it's cheap. Yeah, that's all we do. And then we just export it. So from that, we got 1,039 parcels. So those are my essential filters. Sumner kind of broke in everything.
Yeah, 100%. Good stuff, guys. Hopefully that was helpful. If you guys liked that little breakdown, let us know in the chat if that was helpful. If you learned something, hopefully you did.
Number together.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll let Ryan pull that. And then Kyle, are they making an offer or range on the first call? Yeah, we are making a range offer on the first call. Texting, as soon as it's so interested in selling, are you having someone immediately call or typically doing everything negotiate? Yeah, so we don't close via text. I don't have someone call immediately. I find it's just a big waste of time. So we just converse via text, make a range offer, then submit to the CRM, and then the AMs call. Our acquisition managers are so busy. We have so many leads that it's just not possible to call every texting lead right when they show some level of interest. And I just find that there's a lot of dead ends there. So we just do a lot of the pre-qualification through text. We don't close via text, bring them to the CRM, and then let the AM team close. I've got a good friend, Matt Pallardy, who is doing what Rylan used to do, where he like literally underwrites every single deal through text, makes the offer, is super high touch through text, and his numbers are insane. So there's definitely, it shows how important accurate offers are.
Yeah, so 7 flips sold in the last month, and then we have 3 subdivided properties that sold from our subdivisions.
Solid.
Yeah, so we have for subdivisions right now, like lots listed for subdivides. I think it's like 25 properties listed right now.
For child properties.
Child lots, yeah.
Nice. Solid. Jeff says, if you want to run this with primary living overseas but don't have anyone to really trust in the States, have you found a way to pull that off? Yeah, you kind of need someone to trust in the States, to be honest. And if you don't have that yet, you're probably not at the point where it makes sense to live overseas. But look, you can, man. I mean, it's just a little hard with time zones, so it really depends on where you're staying, right? I don't think you could do that living in Indonesia because the time zone's so wacky. 12 hours different of EST, 15 hours different of PST. So if you don't have a great team and someone that you trust, I think it'd be really, really hard. Now, if you lived in like Mexico or Costa Rica, the time zone is really not that crazy, so it'd be no problem. So overseas is relative to what you mean by overseas, but it can be done. But I think it becomes a lot more viable if you've got a great team that you've worked with for a while. There's a lot of trust there. All right, we're gonna give away a piece of land, y'all. Should we do another piece of land? You want to share your screen, Rylan? Who wants some more free land? I think the group is looking for some free land. Dun dun dun. We've got our magic bucket. Mark, how is the internet connection overseas? Dude, the internet is fire in Bali. Of course, it depends on where you're staying and the house that you're staying at and the Wi-Fi at the house. But I say I have better internet at my house than I had back in America, to be honest. and it's cheap. All right, we're giving away this hunky-dory little lot. That's got to be Colorado, yeah? Yeah,
Florida?
no.
I think that's New Mexico.
New Mexico.
Los Trios, that's New Mexico.
Los Trios, baby. Woot, woot. Who wants some Los Trios land? All right, guys, we're going to open it up 1 through 300. We'll cut off here in a second. 1 through 300. Let's throw it in, and let's give away some free lands. Use the restroom while we wait.
Again, double submissions, you will be DQ'd. You get one number submission, 1 to 300. When I post the comment cut off, we're cut off. Any submissions after that will not count. And then if somebody guesses the same number, whoever put in that number first will get the land. I'm going to hit some questions while we're waiting for submissions. Tim asked, if you don't have the funds to be able to upgrade to the course to have the extra tools, what do you do? I think he means upgrade to the pro plans. So the whole reason why we started the light and starter plans is to help you get your first deal or maybe your first couple deals, right? So let's say you've got a budget of a few $1,000s. I always say, do not put that money towards acquiring a deal. You have the ability to go target $50,000, $100,000 properties because there's so many people that are willing to fund deals. There's so many different strategies too. If you don't have money, you can get a purchase agreement signed. You could reach out to a deal funder. They're all over. You can look on the internet, land deal funder, and you can reach out to them, and they're probably going to fund your deal if it's a really good deal. So all of your money should be spent towards your marketing. So if you don't have funds at the moment, this is what our light and starter plans were built for. Go try to find a good market. Try to find something that's low supply, high demand. Maybe target multiple different zip codes or multiple different counties throughout the US. And go ahead and market to those through LandInsights. Spend all your budget on your marketing, get those deals to come through, and reach out to a funder. You could even do a double close strategy. You could try to purchase it on seller financing if you have the budget for that. And build up that budget. And your whole goal should be to build up a larger budget for marketing. So you should be reinvesting every dollar that you make in your early stages. And then when you got a few deals under your belt and it makes sense to put pro into your budget, it's definitely worthwhile to do so that you have all the tools and you can start saving time and create a legitimate business so that you can grow. So that's kind of my whole spiel for if you don't have the funds for pro, what are you going to do?
All right. So real quick too, guys, we're giving away our second piece of land where you still have one more piece to give away after this. If you guys have not made your free account yet, go to the link right there, app.landinsights.co/create-account. So you can still get into the raffle for the third piece of land. It was probably too late for the second one. Haven't made your account, go do it. You guys could still win the third piece of land, export the golden parcel. Okay. And maybe Rylan can show you how to export it after. All right, we just hit the cutoff. Here we go. Beautiful piece of land in New Mexico. If you guys win this, you have to promise me that you'll move out there for at least 3 months. Okay. All right, you guys ready? Should we pull one? 248. 248. You see it. 248. All right. 248. Come on now. I see 233, 297.
256.
Ooh.
256, that's close.
Yeah, that's true. 248. So we got 256 so far. 228. Nope. 243. I think 256 is the winner. That's 8 away. I think. Oh, we got 250. Aristotle. He's 2 away. Uh-oh. I think Aristotle might be the winner. And Aristotle's probably been the most engaged person in the chat. This guy deserves to win a free piece of land. 277. I think 250 is the one. Just go. We're going through to make sure.
Yeah, 250.
All right, Aristotle, you're the winner.
Aristotle, email hello@landinsights.co, your email, so we can confirm that you've followed the process to
Yeah. Aristotle, I know he's a Land Insights Pro user, I believe. So as long as you've exported that golden parcel, my man, you are the winner, chicken dinner, 248. Young Aristotle, he guessed 250. Let's go. All right. Good stuff, Aristotle. I'm going to write that down. So that's New Mexico. Yeah, Trevor will buy it from you, Aristotle. See if you can flip it on the chat. Whoever can sell it on the chat, you get some major brownie points. That would be hilarious. Sell it on the chat. All right, New Mexico, Aristotle. All right, Aristotle. Email hello@landinsights.co. Winner, chicken dinner. Cool. Good stuff, Aristotle. All right. Next on the docket. What do we got next on the docket? Do we want to go Q&A? Do we want to talk about some Land Insight member wins? What do we want? Where do we want to hit on?
Let's do some member wins.
Okay. You got any that come to mind that you want to pull
Let's
up?
have people comment some of their wins.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you guys are a Land Insight user, put it in the chat. I'd like to know if any of you guys have any wins to talk about. I'd love to talk about that. You know, I want one that comes to mind is a guy named Ben McKenzie. He owns a company called Daybreak Land. Ben is an awesome guy, man. Ben went through all of our free content on YouTube to get started. Just learned through all of our YouTube videos. He came to our event last year in Las Vegas, and he said, and Ben's a super smart guy. He said, I've been land investing full time for 4 months. I gave my job 3 months notice. Land Insights gave me the confidence that this was going to work. It's pretty insane. It's a pretty cool win. That was YouTube plus Land Insights Pro. Like, it's a pretty sick setup. Corbin Garcia, aka Grom, he was supposed to make a cameo. Corbin Garcia said properties are selling about twice as fast, and I'm confident every dollar I spend on mail is going to the right properties. I know what markets to target, what properties to go after, and exactly what price to hit. It's helped me 2x my business and scale way faster than I thought was possible. It's pretty awesome. Ajay Sharma, you guys know Ajay. Ajay just ran his event last weekend, right? Last weekend in Texas. Yep. Love Ajay. Ajay's the man. Ajay said, Land Insights is the slickest platform for land investors out on the market today. If you're a land investor looking to do real deals and run a real business, you got to be on Land Insights. It's pretty awesome.
We got Pete in the comments.
Young.
Just got a little contract last weekend, buy for a whopping 5,100, sell for around 19K.
Wow. Sean Hangley says, Land Insights is honestly the most important tool that I have in my entire business. Matt Pallardy says, I don't think people realize the value of realtor reports. LandInsights has realtors across the country who have agreed to list double closes. If you understand how difficult it is to pitch a double close to a realtor, you'll understand the value of this feature. Art, my man Arturo. Arturo's from Italy. He lives in Italy, runs this business in America, but lives in Italy. Says LandInsights is a game changer. It's one of the most important tools that I have in my arsenal. It's cool, man. Anything else come to mind? Henry Owen says, the price I think is cheaper than it should be, which I'm glad. The value you get is huge. Ben Gallant, Mr. Ben G. Ben Gallant says, has anyone seen their leads go through the roof after using LandInsights? I'm up to just a tick over 1% response rate for my mailers since picking markets using it. I may never fall asleep at nights just playing with the filters on this thing. What an amazing tool. See, my man Andy says, on the fence between LandInsights versus another tool, another program, hands down LandInsights. We have not found anything that can come close. You heard it first here, guys. All right, let's jump into some Q&A. Chan says, Sumner, are you LandInsights for life, or will you sell to private equity when it's massive? That's a good question, man. That's a really good question. You know, you never say never, right? Never say never. Who knows? I think that this could be a sellable business one day for sure. I think right now I'm having too much fun doing it. And I think to make it a sellable asset, we would really have to unhinge it from Leah. Right now, they're so deeply connected. And I personally love that. I think it's very fun that they're so interlinked, but there would be a lot that would need to be done to make it separate from Leah. But yeah, man, never say never. I mean, we have a lot of plans, though. I think it would be foolhardy to sell this anytime soon, because the laundry list of things that we know we can create that could change the game is just, the list is too long. So I would feel like I shortchange myself to not build what I want to build, you know? What are your thoughts, Ron?
Yeah, we haven't been able to create all of the ideas we have. Like I wouldn't ever want to leave this business. Like I feel like we haven't hit what we're capable of by any means. This list just keeps growing of products we want to build.
Yeah.
And over the next couple of months, like we're diving deep into some features that are going to change this business and make it so much better. And these are all features that we have because we're deep in this business right now.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Like, I mean, these features, like they spur from our business, and every day I'm encountering new ideas that I want to execute. And I feel like nobody's really in a better position to execute and create ideas that everyone else, like all the problems that everyone else is experiencing at the moment. So like, yeah, there's a lot I want to execute on for a while.
Totally. And that's the secret sauce. Dude, we get like our business, our land business separately grows so much the more features we build here. So if we handed it off to private equity, it's like, would they build the things that we want to see that would blow up our land business? Probably not, to be honest. They would optimize it for different things. So there's so many synergistic, as such a business buzzword, but so many synergies between what we build here, our land business growing, more people in Leah, like it's just all like very synergy. There's a lot of synergy. So I can't imagine that we would do it anytime soon, but never say never. Some really good questions in here. John says, have you taken profits to buy multifamily, other asset classes? Yeah, I just closed on a really nice Airbnb last month, 1 block from the water in Florida. It's right next to Cape Canaveral. And super solid deal. Obviously, with the big, beautiful bill, you get 100% bonus depreciation. So I just got the cost seg report back on that, and that will knock off about 250 grand that I get a write-off against my taxes, which is pretty awesome. I need a lot more of those. So if anyone's got deals, I'm a buyer. Whatever you got, freaking RV parks, multifamily, Airbnbs, self-storage, mobile homes, whatever. I'm your guy. I'm happy to pay a finder's fee. Don't send me stuff on market, please. That's a lot of people do that. But if you have something, I will pay you a healthy finder's fee. What about you, Ron?
Yeah, I gotta dig deep over the next couple of months. I need to buy a trailer park. Trailer parks are my favorite. I bought one in Alabama last year. Bought a rental property in Arizona last year. So yeah, it's definitely important, especially considering most of us are real estate professionals. So full-time real estate, there's a massive advantage, and you don't have to pay taxes if you're smart.
Yeah.
So yeah, trailer parks are the best in my opinion. The acquisition strategy is very similar to land. It's not crazy. It doesn't require a crazy amount of due diligence, and you can get them at really good values. So the cash flow is really good for long term, and the tax savings are insane. I don't know why the cost segregation comes out so high on those. It's like, what are you cost segregating?
Yeah, I don't get it.
But my study came back a couple weeks ago for my cost segregation. It was insane.
Yeah, I don't understand why there's so much depreciation. I'm like, there's no infrastructure, but even my cost seg guy said, yeah, you should be buying trailer parks. I was like, what? That doesn't add up. But deal manager, wholesale to few parks, motels, and restaurants. Hey man, if you find any more parks, I'm happy to pay you a healthy assignment fee. Same for Ryland. Trevor has 2 trailer parks on a golf course. Dude, that's crazy. This is awesome. Kay Walker says, ending September with 5 dispos, netting over $129,000. Solo operation, just 1 year in, hands down due to LandInsights. That's fucking awesome. I always hesitate right before I'm about to cuss on here. I think I could say it. That's fucking awesome. Fucking awesome. What else? So some good questions in here. If you need DSCR loans for those rentals, let me know. Yeah, man, definitely. I'm looking to acquire a bunch more. I'd like to buy 1 property a month, honestly. Like I need depreciation badly. And that's the blessing and the curse about this business. You make a lot of money, but there's no tax advantages other than being the real estate professional, but you got to take advantage of that. All right, let's hit on the questions. Kay is definitely a legend. I'll lurk in the free Discord until I can join Leah. You always put out great value like Sumner. Yeah, Kay is amazing. Not once has anyone ever asked her to share as much as she shares. She like pays it forward on her own accord. And I think that's very special. And I know a lot of people appreciate that. It does not go unnoticed. Okay, let's go through these questions. Boom. Any advice for an acquisition manager overseas in terms of growing and making actual money? Are you the acquisition manager, or are you talking about hiring an acquisition manager? I need some clarification on that one. Put your questions in the chat, guys. We will get through all of these. Deal Manager Pro. I'd like to see how we can integrate LandInsights into Deal Manager Pro. I have Price, Only Skip Tracing, Art Capital, Print Genie, and tons of other tools locked in. Yeah, man, send us an email. hello@landinsights.co. Happy to talk more. Joe, what is the best advice you can give when doing market research using LandInsights? Yeah, man, my best advice is non-obvious, right? If it's like too on the nose, it doesn't mean you can't do deals there, but my best markets are weird, man. I'm talking like tertiary, C+, B-, maybe not the highest sell-through rate, maybe not the best stats ever, but just off the beaten path. Those are the best. Those are absolutely the best. I would take that over a higher sell-through rate market. I love the sell-through rate concept that we've come up with, but I think a lot of people take it so literally to where they only go after the highest sell-through rates. There's time to go after a lower sell-through rate, and you got to kind of look at the full picture of things. And one of the things I look at is like, do I think other people are looking at this? And the best ones people aren't, because they're so weird. Some small podunk town in New Hampshire, like we print in those markets. I don't know if you have anything to add to that, Rylan. Anything that you'd recommend for market selection inside of LandInsights?
Definitely don't compare one county and one state to the other.
Good
it's
one.
All relative. You want to compare counties within states. That's a big piece of advice for mine. Don't choose the highest sell-through rate county because it's an obvious one, right? Yeah. It's like you kind of want to choose something that it's high demand, but you wouldn't quite understand it's high demand. Not everyone knows that. Like for example, a lot of stuff outside of Tennessee has high sell-through rates. So it's like you don't want to choose the county that's 30 minutes outside Nashville that everyone knows about, anything south. It's like choose something that not everyone knows about. So it takes a little bit of data analysis, and it's about trying to choose the non-obvious. Because if you just try to go the simple route and just choose the highest sell-through rate, like a lot of people are probably hitting that market because people know.
Yep. Deal Manager Pro says full-time land investor and a land investor book author. What? Deal Manager Pro, put the link to the Amazon for the book, man. I'd love to buy it and take a look. I guess I can't buy it in Bali, but if it's Kindle friendly, I'd love to buy a copy. I'm guessing it's a he, says just signed 43 acres at 28,000 worth 65,000 new LandInsight user. That's badass. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think you're a guy. I don't know why I think that. It could be totally wrong. If you're not, I apologize. You can tell me. Questions. Let's pull some questions, Rylan.
Hold on, I'm confirming our winner right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let me go through here. Boop, doop, beep, bop, boop, skiddly bop. Monica, how often do you call people you sent mail to? I don't really think about it necessarily like that, because usually we're calling and then mail's coming later in the funnel, right? So it'd be like cold call, text, the mail would come down later, but there's no reason that you can't. But usually our funnel kind of goes like that. So like cheaper channels at the top to reach people, and then we go to more expensive, higher touch channels as we get lower. I think that's what you're saying, or you're talking about how often do we follow up with people. We pretty much follow up with people until they tell us to buzz off. I mean, that's it. So assuming they have a good property and there's some underlying motivation. And that's a big issue that I see with land investors right now. There's like no attention to pre-qualification. As I've been getting like deeper into this business over the last year, I'm like, man, one of the lowest hanging fruits for us to get better at is pre-qual, because it's easy to generate leads. It's hard to know what leads are worth your time. And so if someone has motivation, I'll spend time with them forever. We get deals that take years to put together, and I can stick around because I know there's motivation there. So how do I pre-qualify people? It's a great question that I just asked myself. We've been at 111 people on this webinar for a long time. That's uncanny. That's so weird. Why are we at 111 consistently? No one leave, no one join. Make sure we keep those numbers. So pre-qualification, there's so many angles you could look at this at, and I don't have all the answers yet. I'm still studying it, but I've kind of broken it down to three main parts, okay? There's what I call the three whys. Why do you want to sell now? Why haven't you sold before? And why not list yourself? By asking these questions, you're going to get intel in terms of what's going on. Well, I didn't sell before because, I never got an offer I liked, but you sent your offer and I like it. And it turns out that I need the money because I'm going to move to the Philippines or, whatever. And why not list yourself? Well, I need to get this done in the next 90 days. When I ask those questions, I get really good answers. I don't always ask them so directly on the nose, but I'm hunting to get those answers. But when you just ask people like point blank about their motivation, they often keep their cards close to their chest. So to get sellers to reveal their situation, you need to ask kind of roundabout questions. And you might have to ask the same question a couple different ways to get the real answer. Sellers are usually a little bit older, and they usually have a lot of life experience. And so they usually know about negotiations. They're smart. They're not going to they keep their cards close to the chest and know what they're doing. The second pre-qualification thing that I take into consideration is the property backstory. So how do they come to acquire it? When did they buy it? What's their basis in it? Do they live out of state, et cetera? Like those things matter. And so that does factor into how motivated I think a lead is. And the third thing is engagement. So during our marketing or our sales process, how have they been showing up? When I went through and studied a lot of our deals, when I look at like the text conversations, they were pretty talkative, or they were like very responsive. Same thing through cold calling, same thing in our acquisition process. So those are three strong pre-qualification points that we take into consideration that tells us, should I continue pursuing this lead, even if it takes years, even if we haven't agreed on price yet, right? All right, let's go through questions. You my tribe with the 111 reference. That's so funny, Jeff. So deal manager, I will be recording audio for the book Dirty Money with 64 pages. I teach a brand new land investor the land game A to Z, wholesale, owner finance, subdividing, building your team. Oh, dude, that's sick. That's super sick. I would love to get a copy when I see it, or buy a copy or whatever. All right. knowing there's only 600,000 good pieces of land in the entire country, did you at any point in your career get scarcity mindset with competition? How did you get over that? I think there's more than 600,000 pieces of good good pieces of land. Ryland's saying he markets to 600,000 people a month, right? So there's millions, millions and millions of good properties. You also have to remember that motivation is all about timing. So someone that you talk to today, or maybe someone that you don't even market to today, might not be motivated, but that you might market to them later and they are motivated. And demand's changing. So it's not static. If Ryland's marketing to 7.2 million people a year, we're not going to market to the same people in the same markets and the same properties forever. It's always evolving. You know what I mean? There's just what I like about this business is it's one of those spinning doors that just keeps on spinning, and new people come in and new people get off. Right? Someone just bought land today. I promise you, in 10 years, they'll probably entertain an offer. So there's always new people coming in and always people selling, and markets are always evolving. New places bubble up that are hot. These places turn sour. Like when I got started, the Southwest was the jam. Now, well, actually, let me back up. Southwest was the jam. Couple years in, Southeast was the jam. Right now, it's kind of the Midwest, man. Some of those northern Midwestern states are really hot. Some of the Northeast is hot. So it's always ever evolving. How do you get over scarcity mindset? I think that the more you run this business, the more that you realize that there's so much opportunity that you can't even capture yourselves. Like I've never been in a situation where I'm like, God, I can't get a deal. I can't sell a deal. People are nipping at my heels. It's always like, God, there's too much opportunity for my lack of skill. I'm always like, I'm not good enough to fully realize how much opportunity there is. Also, I mean this delicately. When you talk to a lot of land investors, they frankly aren't very good. I don't know what your opinions are on scarcity, but
Yeah.
the bar is set very low.
Yeah.
You know,
There's very inexperienced operators in the business making a lot of money.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
if you are an experienced operator, you're good at sales, you know how to manage a team, like the sky's the limit.
Yeah. Mike says, what do you consider a high sell-through rate? I mean, high would be like consistently pulling 20% a month. So just, multiply that for whatever time frame. I think 10% is kind of like where I start to get interested. If you can turn over about 100% of your properties every year, it's decent. But if you're just turning over multiples, 200, 300%, that's a very strong market in my opinion. Anything to add to that?
Sell-through rate?
Yeah.
I like to see 100% in the last year.
Yep.
That's not saying I'll take stuff lower than that. My criteria, it can open up at a higher scale, but I like to target stuff around 100% in the last year. I like to target stuff that has a lower supply. I generally say like under 150 for rural acreages.
Mm-hmm.
So like 5 to 1,000 acres. I like to see below that.
Yep.
Just got word, Aristotle, you are confirmed. You are the winner.
My boy, young Aristotle. He earned it, man. This guy's been the comedic relief in the chat the whole time. Bowden says, at what point does it make sense to hire an AM as opposed to staying a solo operator? Well, of course, there's some personal differences there. It does depend on what you're looking to do and what you want to build. There are people out there that go after really big deals. They do everything themselves, and they sell a deal or two a month, and they make 50 grand a month, and that's totally fine for them. So I don't think everyone needs to go on the same track of like build a big team, do a lot of deals. You can build this business so many different ways. Dude, I know I met a guy when I was in Colorado at the Supercars and Land event. He's just been working on one deal for 2 years, and he's not looking for new deals. And that deal, I think, has like $8 million of spread on it. It's an entitlement deal. He's like, yeah, just keep on working on this one deal. And he has a job. He just works on it nights and weekends when he has time. So you can skin the cat so many different ways. What I typically see, though, I think you need at least 50 leads a month. If you don't have 50 leads a month coming into the CRM, there's just not enough for your AM to work on. And I don't know, 2 to 4 deals a month seems about right. I don't know. What do you think, Ryan?
2 to 4 deals for.
I guess you could look at it. I guess in terms of you're generating 2 to 4 deals a month acquisitions. We're just going to assume your dispo will catch up.
For
for hiring an acquisition manager. So I said 50 leads a month. I think you need enough volume for them, and you should already be pulling 2 to 4 deals a month yourself. and they'll probably do better than you. Honestly.
Yeah. So like with my experience, I say this, and this goes for the majority of people, we're not going to follow up on time. 50% of our deals come from follow up. So
Yeah.
if you think about it, if you're not hitting your follow up on time, you're not rigorously hitting that, and maybe you're going, your tasks are outstanding to follow up. That conversion is going to be a lot lower because you need to be very quick.
Yep.
So from my experience, when we hired that out, like we only accelerated from there, and that was my acceleration point.
Yep. Yep. Bar none, the most important hire in a business, in this business. But I just want to be clear that not everyone needs to do it.
And not a lot of people understand you can hire that person part-time.
Yeah.
So you may have like limited leads, and you may be thinking to yourself, I need to increase my marketing so I can I can get this guy busy. No, you can start him part-time. And my acquisition manager started part-time.
Yep. Yep.
I actually shared mine for a while with another investor.
Yeah. Totally. I've hired, you can do interns. I've had a lot of Leah members hire interns, part-time, totally fine. It's pretty funny. I filmed the screen and Ari says, me posing for your Instagram, forgetting I'm not on camera. That's actually hilarious. Trey Bradford says, I got an RV parking campground on a river with boat rentals and a store. How do I send it to you guys? Send it to both Rylan and I. Maybe we'll take it down together. Who knows? You can just do Sumner@thelandpioneer.com. And then Rylan, what email?
Rylan@landinvestor.co.
Rylan@landinvestor.co. CCM on there. Just, yeah, send it to us. We'll take a look at it. And again, if anyone has deals, mobile home parks, whatever deals, send them to us. We're happy to take a look. CC both of us on it. And we can take a look together. Any issues with comps for non-disclosure states? It's a little trickier. It's a little different. It's not hard though. It's a skill that you can learn. Some non-disclosure states are worse than others for sure. So they're not all created equal, but it's totally doable.
Let me share my screen. It's not a problem.
Yeah. And then after that, we are going to do our raffle because we are coming up on time here. So we do need to do our third raffle. If you guys haven't already, give this video a thumbs up. We don't have everyone on this call that's giving the video a thumbs up. I don't know why. It's pretty heartbreaking. Luke says, are you at all concerned with shifts in the market? No, I'm not. I think a lot of the shifts have already been priced in currently. So if you can make it now and you can find success now, you'll do fine in any market environment. The biggest shift that I'm seeing is that the dispositions are slower. So you do have to be more methodical there. Your dispo process has to be airtight, great realtors, great market, solid pricing, amazing listing packages. And it is taking a little longer. But if you can manage cash flow and you can be fine with that, it's no issue. I think if anything, interest rates should hopefully get better over the next couple of years. So it should get easier. But if you can make it now, you'll do well at any time.
Yeah. So Texas is non-disclosure. I don't have trouble with it.
Yeah.
So I'll show you what we do. So we're in Texas. We can just click a random property. Choose maybe. Oh.
We do have 2 minutes before the next raffle.
All right, guys. I simply just go in, and this is our comping tool on Pro. We're looking at.
It's not sharing that. You gotta go and share that tab.
Oh yeah.
One sec, guys. We're gonna show you guys this. Yep.
10 to 20 acres. So we're only going to see on the map properties 10 to 20 acres. So this 10 acres listed at 30K an acre. That's listed on the market right now. This one sold. This one got through. Like, just because it's non-disclosure doesn't mean comps aren't going to show. So we do have comps to go off of. 10 acres sold at 14,500 an acre. You can go look at these. You can go look at the listing. But sorry, I'm not sharing my screen, but I opened a new tab into Zillow or Redfin, and it showed us that property listing. Yep. So I don't have trouble with it. There's a crazy amount.
Yeah, it's pretty easy. You need to look at the last sale price too, or the last list price rather, and then look at days on market. And there might be some softening that you do as a discount rate if it was at a last list price and is up for a long time. There's just some things that you take into consideration, but it's a skill. We're going to do the last giveaway. So everyone put 1 through 300 in the chat. We are coming up on time here. We need to hit the last giveaway for our Colorado piece of land. 1 through 300 in the chat, y'all. Tim's asking about a CRM. So we don't have a CRM within LandInsights. What CRM do I recommend? Either Pebble or Follow Up Boss. We don't have an integration into those CRMs currently. Maybe at some point, or perhaps we'll just ultimately have a CRM inside of LandInsights, which has been much requested. Jacob, do you think the land space will become oversaturated at the same level as other real estate strategies? Who knows? I think that there's always room in every real estate strategy. It's just like a skill equation. There's guys still killing it in wholesaling or fix and flipping or whatever. I don't think it will get as big as those industries though, because land is just a little weirder, man. Like you never get concrete answers. There's a lot of gray area. I don't think this business is for everyone. Like fix and flipping, wholesaling, it's a little more black and white. It's a little more science. It's a little more of a hard science. It's a little more like a soft science. You know what I mean? It's like saying, will every mathematician move into psychology? It's like, well, kind of different. Will the space grow? Yeah, probably. But will you continue to get better? Absolutely. Our business has only gotten better year over year, even though the market's changed, gotten better, gotten worse. It just, ebbs and it flows. So I just think if you stick around long enough at anything and you continue to get better and you have self-awareness, like you're self-aware of like my deficits and where I should be improving, I think, dude, you're always going to do well. There's people that kill it in super competitive industries, stuff more competitive than even what we see in land. So like I think you can be successful in any industry. You do need to get better at positioning. So in competitive industry, all right, guys, I don't know what just happened there. We are back. Very weird. Everyone put your number in the chat. 1 through 300. Let's pull this puppy. Let's get this thing going. All right, come on now. I'll give you guys another 30 seconds, and we're pulling this last property for Colorado. You want to share your screen, Rylan? Show them that beautiful property. I don't know what happened there with the internet, guys. 1 through 300. Come on now. Let's rock and roll, people. You got 10 more seconds. We're giving away this lovely lot in Colorado. Stunning. Costilla County. A beauty.
Look at that.
Look at that. Gorgeous. The Sangre de Cristo Mountains in the background. 5 seconds. 1, 2, 3. Nah. Buzzer beater. Let's pull it. Oh, good luck charm. 100. A lot of synchronicities today. 100, 111. I should have pulled 111. That would have been the real synchronicity. All right, guys. Who's closest to a hundo? Rylan's going to pull it in the chat. Let's see who got closest to the hundo. We got 129, 113. That's Cody Lamb. 77, 177, 117. So far, 113 is our best one. Oh, we got 111. So that's Carla. Carla's at 111. Yeah, I'm seeing that as being the best. Oh, well.
Ari said DJ Destroy.
DJ Destroy?
What did he get?
Oh, DJ Destroy got 100. Well, DJ Destroy doesn't let us show it on my side because the internet cut out, but the rest of the team has been in the chat. So DJ Destroy got 100. DJ Destroy, you know the drill. hello@landinsights.co. Reach out to the team. We're going to verify that you've done all of the things, made your account, exported the data, yada, yada, yada. DJ Destroy, you're the winner of this beautiful Colorado lot. So Colorado, DJ Destroy. Send an email to our team, DJ, hello@landinsights.co. I got hundos all day. There you go, my friend. DJ Destroy. Trevor wants to buy it from you. We got deals happening in the chat. All right, guys, we've come up on the 3-hour mark. What an amazing call. I love you guys. Thank you for hanging out with us. Hopefully this was fun. Hopefully it's helpful. I can't believe so many of you guys made it all the way through. Like we kept pretty much everyone here the whole time, which is awesome. If you guys haven't yet, give this video a like, means the world. Don't forget that we have a 50,000 credit bonus for anyone that upgrades to Pro in the next 24 hours. You have until 4 p.m. PST tomorrow to take advantage of that 50,000 credit bonus. If you're a light user or starter user and you want to upgrade to Pro, now is the time to do it before we close the gates, as it were, on that 50,000 credit bonus. All right, guys, anything to part with, Rylan? Don't know why I'm holding this up.
If you guys are ever out in Arizona, definitely the invite's open if you guys want to grab lunch or anything. Sumner's out here in Bali. If you want to make the 35-hour trip.
That's right. That's right.
Go for it.
Doors always open for you guys, Bali or Phoenix. If you go to Phoenix, you'll probably get blackout drunk. They will take you to a crazy night. And they're throwing a Halloween party, open invite. Anyone that wants to go to their Halloween party and see some debauchery. Trevor, no, we're not giving the Pro credits to those that attend to the call. Unfortunately, it's a lot of credits. We've already given away like $37,000 in credits for everyone that signed up. Maybe I'll talk to the team. Maybe we can do something special for the Pro users that were in attendance. But currently the 50,000 credit offer doesn't go out to all accounts. That's a lot of credits. All right, guys, much love, everyone. We'll wrap up here. Take care of yourself. Have a great start to your week. Give this video a thumbs up. Send it to your mom. Get her in and get her inside of LandInsights. Make a free account, app.landinsights.co/create-account. Appreciate you guys so much. Thank you for all the support. Till next time, much love, guys. Bye.